Chun Miyun, an ordinary college student, is perhaps different from other college students in that she particularly enjoys watching anime and reading fanfiction. So much so that she tried her hand at writing during high school, gaining 2 fans within a year with her immature writing style. She really likes My Little Pony, but it wasn't to the extent that she had to be transported into it. Perhaps it was because she had already crossed over when she was hit by a great fortune. Chun Miyun didn't feel much pain, which could be considered a stroke of luck amid misfortune. Once she calmed down, a name suddenly appeared in her mind. Duoduo. Duoduo. Is that my name, My Little Pony? It sounds like a Pegasus name. Could it be that I'm a Pegasus? Chun Miyun, no. Now, it's Duoduo. She turned to look at her back, but unfortunately, it was bare. Not a wing was in sight, not even a single feather. However, she didn't feel too disappointed because there was a bigger problem at hand. Who could tell her where to go to get out of here? Duo slowly raised her head. White clouds floated in the sky, but she had no interest in appreciating the beautiful scenery. Anxiously, Duo looked around, hoping to find a way out through her surroundings. However, all she could see were endless, densely packed trees. They were tall and sturdy, their branches and leaves intertwined, forming a green barrier that isolated everything from the outside world. Even the dazzling sunlight struggled to penetrate the layers of leaves and could not shine down where Muyun was. These trees looked very peculiar, entirely different from an ordinary forest. Their trunks twisted as they grew, some even taking on bizarre shapes. Their branches were covered with strange lumps and tumors, resembling grotesque faces. The colors of the leaves were also vibrant, with deep green, light green, dark green, and various shades mixed together, creating a dizzying effect. Just then, a sudden howl of a wolf shattered the tranquility. The sound came from far away, echoing eerily and terrifyingly. Startled, a squirrel suddenly dashed out from a tree, squeaking twice before quickly hiding in a nearby tree hole. Duo was taken aback by this sudden turn of events, her heart instantly racing. She had never seen a wolf before. The only time was at a small zoo where she saw a husky dressed as a wolf. She stared intently in the direction of the howl, not daring to relax for a moment. After a while, she couldn't be sure if the wolf was coming after her, but she knew that the best course of action was not to wait in place but to run. So Duo decisively turned on her heels and hurried in the opposite direction of the howl. With each step, she felt her heart pounding harder, as if it would leap out of her chest. Before long, Duo sensed that someone, or rather something, was watching her from the shadows. The more she calmed down to feel it, the stronger this sense of being watched became. In fact, when she saw those unusual trees, she had a suspicion that she was in the eternal freedom forest. However, until she had solid evidence before her, she still held onto a glimmer of hope. Maybe this was just an ordinary forest? As she listened to the heavy breathing and unabashed footsteps getting closer, Duo felt increasingly that she couldn't stay here any longer. Without caring to hide her tracks, she sprinted like an arrow, darting through the obstructing trees. She didn't know if the wolves here were as agile and sharp-sensed as the ones depicted on TV. Unfortunately, she was still a step too late. 3 wolves made of wood were slowly surrounding her. Watching the wooden wolves that looked like they would pounce any second, Duo used her skill of dodging chalk thrown by her teacher in reality, narrowly avoiding their attacks and escaping the encirclement formed by the 3 wooden wolves. She didn't know where she was running or where the path she chose would lead. All she knew was that the pack of wooden wolves was hot on her heels, as if they had caught the scent of a delicious meal. Damn it, what to do? Duo could only hope that someone would notice the abnormality of the wooden wolves or the commotion here and come to rescue her. Though she thought this way, she didn't relax for a moment, fearing that her negligence would lead to injury. Suddenly, she heard a bear's roar. The bushes ahead rustled. No way, not again. Spare me. Duo thought helplessly, but her actions to escape showed no sign of slowing down. Who are you, and how did you end up in the eternal freedom forest? A black and white hoof pushed aside the bushes, revealing a pony wearing a cloak. The only discernible feature was the golden ornament that was exposed. Seeing the pony emerge from the bushes, Duo let out a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, as long as it's not a big bear. However, the color, the stripes, and that ornament looked so familiar. Could it be Cola? She wanted to resolve her survival issue first before tackling other small problems, and more importantly, she needed to buy some time to fabricate her backstory. I am Cola. Follow me, I think you'll tell me why you're here on the way out, right? Cola didn't mind Duo changing the subject in her view. Duo was simply frightened and needed time to sort out what was happening to her. Cola turned around decisively, not at all worried that Duo wouldn't follow it, of course. Duo wouldn't give up this hard-won opportunity. closely trailing behind, fearing that if she fell behind even a little, it might lead to unforeseen consequences that would leave her trapped here forever. Chapter 2: The First Encounter with Ziyue. So that's the situation. I'm sorry for touching a sore spot. Keela looked at Duo, who had lowered her eyes, thinking she was just too sad, and quickly apologized. It's okay, I don't remember it anyway. Duo shrugged, feeling relieved. You don't have to apologize, after all. You didn't know I had amnesia. Keela looked at the pitiful little pony in front of her and asked with concern, Amnesia? I'm sorry. Do you have a place to stay now? Where am I living? Duo suddenly realized there were still unresolved issues. She turned her gaze to Keela, looking pitifully at her, and said, Keela, can you take me in? I live in the Eternal Freedom Forest, which isn't suitable for little ponies. You might as well rent a place in Ponyville. It's much safer than living in the Eternal Freedom Forest. Keela glanced at Duo, knowing full well that a little pony like her wouldn't last long in the Eternal Freedom Forest. Rather than giving her hope only to let her down, it was better not to give her hope at all. Hearing this, Duo realized that she was not only a homeless wanderer, but also a broke one. Oh no! How did I forget about this? And it seems I don't have any money, so how am I going to eat? As Duo anxiously pondered ways to make money, her brows furrowed, and her eyes were filled with urgency and desire. Various potential ways to earn money flashed through her mind like a revolving lantern, and she occasionally calculated costs, profits, and time arrangements in her heart. She walked while thinking, her steps hurried, muttering to herself, completely immersed in her own world, not noticing that Keela had already stopped in front of her. Keela was standing at the edge of the Eternal Freedom Forest, her gaze fixed on the distant Ponyville, her body frozen in place. By the time Duo realized this, it was too late to stop. With a loud bang, she collided straight into Keela, her body lunging forward due to inertia, nearly falling over. Both were startled by the sudden collision. Oh, I'm so sorry, I was just lost in thought. Are you okay? Duo looked apologetically at Keela, who was in front of her. I'm fine. Ponyville is just ahead. You can go there by yourself, right? Keela steadied herself quickly after the sudden impact. Is Ponyville really just ahead? Then am I about to see Ziyue, Ruru, Biki, Junchi, Yunbao, and Applejack? Oh, I almost forgot. There's also Suilong. Thank you, Keela. If it weren't for you, I would still be lost in the Eternal Freedom Forest. But what do you mean by going there by myself? Aren't you coming with me? No. Every time I go to Ponyville, the shops are closed. They might be afraid of me, Keela said casually about her past experiences. Has the story not reached Keela's part yet? Although Duo felt a bit regretful that she couldn't go to Ponyville with Keela, it was also nice to experience the local culture on her own. Alright then, goodbye, Keela. Duo waved her hoof at Keela. Do I really look like a lost pony? Duo thought angrily, snorting in frustration. However, she had a feeling they would meet again. Looking ahead at Ponyville, Duo felt a surge of excitement and loudly shouted, Ponyville, here I come. The loud shout startled Keela, who had walked away, causing her to trip over a tree root. The scene shifted to Ponyville. The unicorn Ziyue and Suilong had just arrived in Ponyville. The princess wants me to inspect the preparations. I am her student and will fulfill my responsibilities. But relying on making friends won't save the kingdom's fate. Ziyue still couldn't understand why the cosmic princess specifically ordered her to make a few friends. After the carriage stopped, Ziyue politely thanked the ponies pulling the carriage. Thank you, gentlemen. Maybe the ponies in Ponyville will share some interesting things with you? Suilong, after jumping off the carriage, still wanted to persuade Ziyue to make friends. At that moment, a pink pony walked right up to Ziyue and Suilong. Come on, Ziyue, give it a try. It must be said that Suilong did indeed persuade Ziyue. However, just after Ziyue attempted to say hello to the pink pony shouted in an incredible manner and shot past Ziyue's head like an arrow. Ziyue and Suilong looked in disbelief at the direction the pink pony had flown, unable to believe that this was something a land pony could do. Oh, I guess I've talked to her now, Ziyue thought, her intention to make friends quickly fading. Suilong had no choice but to walk alongside Ziyue on the road. Is the story just beginning now? Let me think. Where did Ziyue go first? It seems to be Sweet Apple Acres. Actually, it wouldn't be a problem to meet Ziyue a little later, but who could blame her for being extremely hungry and having no money? She hoped to follow Ziyue to Sweet Apple Acres to try some food. Otherwise, she would have to wait until the evening to eat something at the library during Ziyue's welcome party. It's all the wood wolves from the Eternal Freedom Forest's fault for chasing me so closely. I'm so hungry. After asking a pony for directions to Sweet Apple Acres, Duo trotted towards the orchard, hoping to run into Ziyue and Suilong. Speak of the devil, and he doth appear. It seemed that Ziyue and Suilong were ahead. Could it be that my route overlaps with Ziyue's? But so far, I haven't seen Biki. It seems she must have already met Ziyue, and is now preparing for Ziyue's welcome party. Muyuanduo thought that since she encountered Ziyue and Suilong on the way to Sweet Apple Acres, she might as well start making friends with Ziyue right now. So she took the initiative to greet them. Hello, I'm Muyuanduo. Do you like making friends? Chapter 3 Sweet Apple Acres. Ziyue turned around and saw a light blue unicorn smiling at her and Suilong. Ziyue, give it a try. Perhaps this time the outcome will be different. Besides, didn't she just say she wanted to be our friend? Suilong urged Ziyue again. Okay, I'll give it another try. Unable to resist Suilong's pleading, Ziyue said, Hello, I'm Ziyue, from Canterlot. Hello, I'm Suilong, Ziyue's close companion. Hi, now we can consider ourselves friends, right? Muyuanduo looked at the still somewhat shy Ziyue and confirmed again. Yes, of course. Then you are my first friend in Ponyville, Ziyue said with surprise. Never having imagined that making friends could be so simple. Yes, you are also my first friend in Ponyville. Suilong looked even more excited than Ziyue, patting his chest to assure her. It seems you guys are also going to Sweet Apple Acres. What are you going there for? Muyuanduo planned to start a conversation to enhance her friendship with Ziyue and Suilong. We are here at the request of the Cosmic Princess to inspect the preparations. Suilong candidly told Muyuanduo their plan. Suilong. Ziyue felt that Muyuanduo's appearance was quite suspicious. Although she had just become friends with Muyuanduo, she couldn't help but suspect whether Muyuanduo might be a henchman of Nightmare Moon or some other villain. She knew she shouldn't think like that, but ever since she had seen that legend in Canterlot, she had enough reason to be on high alert. It's okay, Muyuanduo is a friend, right? Suilong felt that Ziyue was overreacting. Does that mean everyone who talks to them is a bad guy? Well then, do you want to join us to inspect the preparations? Ziyue decided to take the plunge, thinking that it couldn't get any worse. Sure, I'm glad you invited me to join. Muyuanduo could see that Ziyue was a bit wary of her, but she chose to ignore it. After all, what could be worse than being hungry? What? You agreed. Ziyue and Suilong said in unison, clearly not expecting Duoduo to agree to join them. What's wrong? Can't I go with you? Duoduo, sensing their intention to reject her, started to act pitifully, lowering her eyelashes to look at the ground and saying, I'm sorry, if my joining would cause you trouble. You can refuse me. I can just go somewhere else to wander around. Don't worry, I won't be bored at all. I don't have a job because I'm not a pony from Ponyville. Duoduo explained why she could join them in inspecting the preparations instead of being busy with other things. What? You're not a pony from Ponyville. Ziyue and Suilong looked at Duoduo in shock again, seeing that Duoduo had said this. Suilong and Ziyue felt embarrassed to refuse and had to agree unanimously for Duoduo to accompany them in the inspection of the preparations. So what is the first inspection task? Look, we've arrived. Along with this sentence was a cowboy-like yeehaw. This voice startled the trio at the entrance of Sweet Apple Orchard. Duoduo and the others looked towards the source of the sound. They saw an orange pony wearing a cowboy hat galloping to an apple tree and kicking it. Surprisingly, the apples on the tree obediently fell into the prepared baskets. Let us go meet her, Ziyue said, lowering her head. Ziyue slowly approached and introduced herself. Good afternoon, I'm Pony Ziyue. Good afternoon, I'm Duoduo. Applejack suddenly grabbed Ziyue and Duoduo's hooves and shook them up and down wildly. Hello, Miss Ziyue and Miss Duoduo. I'm very happy to meet you. My name is Applejack, and this is Sweet Apple Orchard. Do you like making new friends? Making friends. Actually, is there anything I can do for you? Applejack winked at Ziyue and Duoduo playfully. At this moment, Ziyue and Duoduo were still shaking their hooves with their eyes closed, obviously not reacting. Suilong had to grab each of their shaking hooves to stop them. After seeing Ziyue and Duoduo's hooves stop shaking, Suilong chuckled to herself. Ziyue glanced at Suilong but decided to talk about the inspection first. I'm here with Ziyue, Duoduo quickly added, fearing to miss the opportunity to speak before Applejack took over. Are you in charge of the banquet? Yes, you found the right person. Want to try a little? Applejack asked the two. Duoduo wished to agree immediately. She was starving. However, since this inspection was led by Ziyue, she thought it best to wait for Ziyue to agree. As expected, Ziyue replied, Sure, just don't take too much time. Chapter 4. Finally, full Applejack quickly ran to the dinner bell, ringing it while shouting, Dinner time, ponies. A group of ponies came rushing from behind Duoduo, Ziyue, and Suilong, and they were almost forced to the dining table. Okay, let me introduce you to our Apple family. Before they could recover, Applejack began introducing the Apple family. Ziyue and Duoduo looked around at the Apple family members and declined Applejack's invitation. Thanks, but we need to inspect quickly. However, Applejack didn't listen to Ziyue and continued. This is sweet apple pie, apple bread, apple muffin, red mousse, gold mousse, apple caramel, apple roll, apple pie, baked apple egg roll, apple crisp, Macintosh, apple bloom, and Granny Smith. Each time Applejack mentioned a family member's name, a corresponding dish would appear on the table, leading to a mountain of apple-related food piling up. Get up, Granny Smith. We have guests. Granny Smith, who was sleeping in a rocking chair, slowly made her way to the table, saying, "What is going on?" "All right, I'm coming." When Applejack patted Ziyue's shoulder and said they were family, Ziyue had already spit out the green apple that Applejack had casually shoved into her mouth. It seemed the banquet preparations were going quite well. "So the three of us will take our leave." Ziyue was just about to lead me and Duoduo and Sui Long to inspect other places when Apple Bloom asked, "Aren't you staying for breakfast?" This made Ziyue look towards Apple Bloom, who had just been introduced. However, Ziyue still declined Apple Bloom's suggestion. "Sorry. We have a lot to do." Everyone, including Muyun Duoduo, lowered their heads. "Ziyue, why don't we stay a little longer?" Muyun Duoduo hadn't finished her sentence. She didn't want to put Ziyue in a difficult position, even though she knew they would end up staying to eat. Ziyue looked around at the disappointed Apple family and couldn't bear to refuse directly. Muyun Duoduo's words were the last straw that broke the camel's back for Ziyue. She had no choice but to compromise. Yay! A cheer erupted from the crowd. "Oh no," from the ponies. "Ziyue, try this apple pie. It's really delicious." Muyun Duoduo handed over a piece of apple pie. "It's indeed good." Now Muyun Duoduo's stomach was finally full. It wasn't easy at all. The final result was that the three of them left the table, holding their stomachs, and arrived at the second inspection site. The banquet was ready. And next was the weather. Sui Long turned to look at the stuffed Ziyue and Muyun Duoduo and shook her head gently. "There should be a pony named Yuna responsible for cleaning the sky here. It seems she is not very diligent in her job." Ziyue looked up at the clouds and tilted her head to comment. The next moment, she bumped into a blue pony with a rainbow tail and fell into a puddle. "Phew, luckily I had the foresight to dodge," Muyun Duoduo thought as she watched Yuna and Ziyue. Just as she was about to pull Ziyue up when Yuna got up first. Yuna smiled shyly. "Sorry about that. I'll help you clean up." Yuna brought over a cloud that looked like a rain cloud, placed it on Ziyue's head, and bounced on it a couple of times, drenching Ziyue like a wet chicken. Looking at Ziyue, the only difference being the liquid on her body, Yuna shyly said, "Got a bit of a wash there. How about this? This is my secret skill, drying rain." Yuna whirled around Ziyue a few times, creating a small tornado that sucked all the water off Ziyue. No, don't mention it. We're friends, right?" Yuna said while landing back on the ground. When Ziyue opened her eyes, she saw herself with a frizzy hairstyle looking at Yuna. Eventually, she couldn't help but laugh and fell to the ground. Sui Long followed suit, laughing on top of Yuna, and even Muyun Duoduo couldn't help but chuckle. "Ha, Ziyue. Are you okay?" Ziyue stared at Yuna and said, "Let me guess, you must be Yuna, right?" Chapter 5. Living in the library with Ziyue? Upon hearing this question, Yuna immediately stood up and said, "Yes, that's me. What is up? Have you heard of me?" Yuna then flew onto a cloud and started to lounge around, waving her hoof at Ziyue. All right, it's a piece of cake. Once I finish practicing, I'll be done cleaning up in no time." "What are you practicing?" Ziyue asked, confused, as she recalled that Yuna should only be responsible for cleaning the sky. "The lightning bolts." Yuna pointed with one hoof to a poster on the wall. "They are performing at the celebration tomorrow, and I want to show them my skills." After spinning in the air, Yuna lay back on the cloud, showing no intention of cleaning the sky. "The lightning bolts?" Ziyue immediately thought of a good idea to quickly finish inspecting the sky cleaning task. Upon hearing Yuna confirm that the lightning bolts she mentioned were indeed the same ones Ziyue was thinking of, she became even more certain that this was a good idea. "You mean the best flying team in Equestria? That's them. Well, a flying pony who can't even clean the sky isn't worthy of their attention. All right, we can see Ziyue using her skill of provoking. Hey, I can clean everything in just 10 seconds. Well done." Yuna couldn't help but start to argue with Ziyue. Ziyue looked at Yuna with a disbelieving expression and said, "Then you try it." Clearly, Ziyue thought Yuna was bragging. Sure enough, Yuna couldn't wait to start cleaning the sky. Congratulations to Ziyue for her successful scheme. "Hey, why are you still providing commentary?" Sui Long looked at the nearby Muyun Duo. I can't help it. But don't you think Ziyue and Yuna are really interesting?" Muyun Duo playfully stuck out her tongue. Indeed, those two are really like enemies meeting on a narrow road. Sui Long. That term is frenemies. Oh, sorry, but Yuna is really fast. What? Sui Long hadn't realized what had happened because he was talking to Muyun Duo. Muyun Duo slightly tilted her head and raised a hoof to point above her head. What was once filled with clouds was now empty, leaving only a clear blue sky. As if the cloud world just now was merely a beautiful dream. Sui Long looked up and instantly wore a surprised expression similar to Zeus. I told you. Done in 10 seconds. I never let this place have a cloudy day. Yuna, as usual, flew down after spinning around in the air. At this moment, Ziyue and Suilong were still in shock. If it weren't for Duoduo having already seen it in the anime, her expression wouldn't be much better than Ziyue's and Suilong's. Just look at the expression on your face. You're really something. Little pony Ziyue, let's play again next time. Yuna spun in place at a very fast speed. Her streamlined body drawing a graceful arc in the air, her tail resembling a brilliant rainbow, leaving a dreamy color behind. In the blink of an eye, she shot off into the distance like a shooting star, leaving only the gradually dissipating afterimage at the horizon. She is really amazing. Suilong pointed in the direction Yuna had left, then playfully ruffled Ziyue's messy hair. It still looks pretty nice once you get used to it, don't you think, Duo? Alright, Suilong, stop teasing Ziyue. Let's take a look at where we should go next for the decoration situation. After Suilong wrote and drew on the checklist, he looked up at the decorations. So beautiful. Yes, the decorations here are really nice, and it won't take long to check. I can go to the library soon. It is indeed beautiful, Ziyue said while observing. Library? Wait, I just solved the food issue, but what about the housing issue? What should I do? Not the decorations. It's her. Suilong pointed to the white pony with purple hair who was decorating in front. Ziyue, there's something I want to talk to you about, Duo said. Looking at Ziyue. What is it, Duo? Do you remember I said I'm not a pony from Ponyville? Duo hesitated to continue, fearing Ziyue would refuse. But when it came to the issue of basic needs, Duo was willing to take the risk. Actually, I have amnesia and don't remember where my home is. So can I live with you in the library? Upon saying this, Duo regretted asking so easily. What if Ziyue didn't agree? Ziyue, if you don't agree, it's okay. I understand. After all, I was too abrupt. Duo's voice grew smaller until she could hardly make a sound. What? You were worried about that the whole time? It's okay. Let's live together in the library. There are so many rooms in the library, and it would be a waste for only me and Suilong to live there. Right? Ziyue said nonchalantly. Really? Thank you, Ziyue. But don't worry, I'll move out once I save enough money. Duo said, feeling touched while also making a promise. No need to rush to move out. You can stay as long as you want. I won't kick you out, Ziyue said seriously to Duo. It's okay, we're friends. Friends? Yes. From the moment Ziyue and I introduced ourselves, we became friends, didn't we? And me. Duo, I'm also your friend. Suilong chimed in, not wanting to be left out. Of course you too. Thank you, Suilong. It's nothing, we're friends. Yeah, friends. Through this conversation, their friendship grew a bit closer. And at the same time, the decoration party was just finishing up. Good afternoon. How can I help you? My goodness, dear, what happened to your hairstyle? And you, dear? Your hairstyle isn't much better. Are you talking about my mane? That's a long story. What about me? Duo pointed at herself in surprise. Maybe I got scratched by branches when I escaped the wood wolf. At this moment, her originally smooth and shiny mane looked a bit messy, with a few small branches and leaves stuck in it. But Duo had no idea what was wrong with her mane. We're here to inspect the decorations. We'll leave after we finish looking. Ziyue briefly introduced the situation. You're leaving after looking? How can you go out like this? Shinchi absolutely wouldn't allow them to go out with such hairstyles, quickly pushing the severely styled Ziyue toward the carousel fashion shop. Let's follow them. Duo was about to remind Suilong, but found that Suilong had already followed, so she could only shrug helplessly and say, well, looks like I'm the only one not following. No, too green, too yellow, too gaudy, too plain, too flashy, too dazzling. Okay, this is it. Jinchi quickly matched two ponies with different styles, yet still didn't feel tired, as if what she just did was a piece of cake for her. Hello, I'm Duo. Nice to meet you. This is Suilong, and that is Ziyue. Duo planned to start a conversation, and it just so happened that this topic wasn't about matching clothes. After all, anyone who changes into dozens of outfits in a row would get tired. Jinchi was shocked and accidentally lost control of her strength, sending herself and Ziyue flying. Canterlot, I'm so envious of you. It's so fashionable and trendy there. I dream of living in that place, Jinchi said with longing, her mind drifting to scenes of herself living in Canterlot. At that time, she would walk down the street in clothes she designed herself, drawing all the little ponies' gazes toward her, showcasing her own designs, her striking appearance, and her extraordinary temperament. It would be even better if she could open a store there. The ponies of Canterlot would go crazy for her designs, and countless clothing orders would fly to the carousel fashion shop. Just thinking about that scene made Jinchi feel so happy she could faint. You have to stay and tell me everything about it. We will definitely become the best of friends. Suddenly, Jinchi fixed her eyes on the emerald gemstone on Ziyue's outfit. No, 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 how can I match like that? I need to get you some rubies. While saying this, she went to find matching rubies. Unexpectedly, the mirror reflected a light blue unicorn, with a mane that was a deeper shade of blue than its body. The entire body was cool-toned, yet the eyes were a gentle lavender, with a tear mole beneath the right eye's outer corner. The cute mark was an open book, with a cover in blue and pink color, and upon closer inspection, the blue part seemed to have tiny stars in it, while the light yellow pages had not a single word on them. So beautiful. I think I'm going to fall in love with myself. Wait, is this really me? Am I a unicorn? I'm not an earth pony. I always thought I was an earth pony, and now my worldview has collapsed. Why does a unicorn have a name that looks like a Pegasus? What? A Pegasus's name, an earth pony's mindset, and a unicorn's identity. What does this count as? 3 in 1, stronger than 1? I already accepted being an earth pony, and now you tell me I'm actually a unicorn. Run fast, or she'll repaint me. Ziyue's voice interrupted Mu Yunduo's thoughts. Forget it. Why think so much? Things will sort themselves out. When Mu Yunduo left, she also took along Suilong, who had been ignored by Ziyue. She was just too charming. Suilong leaned against Ziyue, still immersed in her exquisite beauty. Focus, you big romantic. What's next on the list? Ahem, music. This is the last item. Just as Suilong finished speaking, a beautiful, clear bird song rang out. Oh, it seems to be coming from somewhere. The three of them poked their heads out from the bushes by the roadside and saw a yellow Pegasus with light pink hair conducting various little birds to sing. Oh my gosh, please pause for a moment. The little Pegasus said as she flew towards a bluebird. Excuse me, sir, but your singing is slightly offbeat. Please sing with me, 1 2 1 2 3. Hello. Ziyue didn't expect that just a greeting would scare all the little birds away. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare them off. We're here to inspect the preparations for the music, and it sounds beautiful. The yellow Pegasus slowly landed and rubbed her front hooves on the ground. She didn't seem to be good at communicating, and indeed, that was the case. Receiving a pleading look from Ziyue, Mu Yunduo stepped forward. Hello, I'm the little Pegasus Mu Yunduo. I'm the little Pegasus Ziyue. Ziyue asked the yellow Pegasus. What is your name? Mu Yunduo couldn't bear it anymore and said directly, I think I heard her say her name is Ruru. With Mu Yunduo's rescue, Ziyue and Ruru felt much better and looked at her gratefully. Just as Ziyue was about to leave with Mu Yunduo, Suilong emerged from the bushes. Oh, this music preparation seems to be the most normal one, right? Chapter 7. Biki, another unseen little Pegasus. Ruru suddenly got excited when she saw Suilong and flew up, saying, a baby dragon. I've never seen a baby dragon before. It's so cute. Yes, yes, yes. Suilong turned to Ziyue and said, then crossed her arms and proudly faced Ruru's praise. Oh my gosh, it can talk. I didn't know dragons could talk. How wonderful is that? Ruru excitedly flew up, saying, I don't even know what to say. Since that's the case, Ziyue used magic to lift Suilong off the ground and onto her back, saying, then we'll be off. To her surprise, Ruru followed along, completely unshy like when she talked to Ziyue and Mu Yunduo. Wait, what's his name? My name is Suilong. Suilong. My name is Ruru. Hee, a talking dragon. What do you usually talk about? What do you want to know? Of course, I want to know everything. Well, I started out as a purple and green little dragon egg. Just like that, Ruru and Suilong started chatting back and forth. Ziyue noticed that the two had been talking until dusk with no signs of stopping and became a bit impatient. I, Suilong, only have these few stories. But today isn't included. Do you want to hear today's story? Yes, go ahead. Ziyue, who was tired after a day's work, didn't want to listen to Ruru and Suilong chat anymore. I'm really sorry, but we've arrived. Ziyue and the others reached the entrance of the library. From a distance, the library looked like a giant tree, but inside it was a treasure trove. There were several rooms and all the books in Ponyville. This is our residence in Ponyville. My poor baby dragon is going to sleep. No, I don't want to sleep. Suilong, having finally met a little Pegasus willing to listen to her stories, didn't want it to end like this. Ziyue wouldn't let Suilong protest and tipped him to the ground. See, he is already so sleepy, swaying and unable to sit still. Don't you think so? Mu Yunduo? Yes, poor Suilong is very tired today. I think he needs to rest now. Although Mu Yunduo saw Ziyue's little action, she didn't want to expose it. Poor thing, we need to quickly coax him to sleep. Ruru hugged Suilong tightly and flew into the library to prepare to lull Suilong to sleep. Yes, leave it to me, good night. Ziyue refused Ruru's suggestion, pushed her out of the library, and closed the door. Did Ziyue forget I'm still outside? Mu Yunduo and Ruru exchanged glances at the door. I'm sorry. I forgot you were still outside. Ziyue apologetically reopened the door and invited Mu Yunduo in. It's okay, I don't mind. Duo knew that Ziyue wanted to quickly get rid of Ruru to gain more time to search for clues about the Nightmare Moon. It is a bit. But where's the light? Surprise. All the lights in the library suddenly turned on, and a group of unfamiliar little ponies rushed towards Ziyue and Duo. Biki rushed in front of Ziyue. Surprise. Hello, my name is Biki, and I threw this party for you. How about that? Didn't he expect it, right? Actually, I didn't expect it either. I can't believe there are two little ponies I've never seen before here. If I've never seen you, it means you're new, because I know all the ponies in Ponyville. You're new, so you must not have met everyone. If you haven't met everyone, then you definitely have no friends. If you have no friends, you must feel lonely. Just thinking about it makes me sad. But I have an idea. So I should throw you a big, huge, super big welcome party and invite all the ponies in Ponyville. Look, now you have so many friends. Oh my gosh. The lunch I had at Sweet Apple Acres has just digested, and this party is just perfect for dinner. Ziyue didn't care about that. She just leisurely wanted to pour herself a glass of juice. Unexpectedly, Ziyue accidentally grabbed not juice, but hot sauce with her magic. It wasn't tea until she took a big sip that she realized something was wrong. It was spicy, and Ziyue quickly ran upstairs. I'll go check on Ziyue. Duo worried about Ziyue and went upstairs after leaving that sentence, but she didn't forget to take 2 cupcakes with her. Are you okay, Ziyue? Here. This is a cake I specially brought for you. Eat it, and it won't be spicy anymore. As soon as Duo went upstairs, she saw Ziyue with her face covered by a pillow. The ponies in Ponyville have gone crazy. Do you know what time it is? They're still not sleeping. Ziyue hated the atmosphere downstairs right now. But what Ziyue was thinking about was the legend of the elements of harmony and Nightmare Moon. I thought I would have time to study the elements of harmony. I was so naive. Dealing with these boring friends is really driving me crazy. Ziyue meant to say that being friends with me is annoying and boring too? Duo's face instantly wrinkled, and tears began to well up in her eyes, as if they would burst forth at any moment. She trembled slightly, cautiously looking at Ziyue, fearing she would hear a definite answer from Ziyue's mouth in the next second. No, I don't think you're boring or annoying. I meant downstairs. They're just too loud. Ziyue hurriedly comforted Duo, not wanting to make her only friend in Ponyville sad. Ziyue, I can tell you're feeling very frustrated right now. What happened? Can you tell me? Let us solve it together, okay? Duo tempted Ziyue to share her troubles so she could guide her to the first floor to find the book about the elements of harmony. Let me think about it. Ziyue bit her lip tightly, secretly contemplating whether to tell Duo the truth. On one hand, Ziyue knew this matter was full of danger and uncertainty. Moreover, she didn't think Duo would know where the elements of harmony were. On the other hand, as a friend, it seemed a bit unkind to hide the truth. After a fierce inner struggle, Ziyue ultimately decided to remain silent for now. She sighed lightly, secretly vowing to solve this problem on her own and never let Duo be harmed in any way. All right, since you're not willing to speak, I won't force you to tell me. But right now, the most important thing is to rest well. Ziyue, let us sleep together. As Duo noticed Ziyue's inner turmoil, she pretended to be indifferent, climbed onto the bed, and comforted her. Perhaps Duo had exercised too much today, as she fell asleep and began to snore almost as soon as she lay down. Come on, Ziyue. Everyone is getting ready to watch the sunrise, Suilong shouted as he pushed open the door, wearing a ridiculous party hat. Keep it down, Suilong. Duo is asleep, Ziyue said, looking at the snoring Duo on the bed. She turned to Suilong and made a shushing gesture, signaling him to be quieter. Should we wake her up? No, let her rest well. Good night, Duo, she said, kindly covering her with a blanket to prevent her from getting cold. With a melodious bird song ringing out, the lights turned on to illuminate the stage where Ponyville's mayor stood. In just a little while, everyone will witness the miraculous sunrise. Let us celebrate the longest day of the year together. Now, it is my immense honor to introduce the ruler of our kingdom, the one who raises the sun and moon for us day and night, the kind and wise cosmic princess who protects our harmonious lives in Ponyville. Chapter 8. The legend of the Nightmare Moon is real. As the heavy and magnificent curtain slowly opened, everyone looked forward with anticipation towards the center of the stage. However, to their surprise, the cosmic princess was nowhere to be seen. The spot that should have shone with brilliant light was now empty. And this sudden turn of events left the audience bewildered, filled with confusion and uncertainty. This doesn't look good, Ziyue thought. Worried that her fears had come true, the cosmic princess was missing. At the same time, Jinshi, who had gone backstage to look for the cosmic princess, echoed Ziyue's thoughts. The mayor was anxious, beads of sweat forming on her forehead, but she still tried to maintain her composure. attempting to soothe the frightened little ponies who were trembling all over with gentle and caring words. However, no matter how much the mayor pleaded, she could not comfort the hearts of the little ponies that were consumed by fear. At that moment, a shocking scene unfolded. A mysterious blue-purple mist, like a ghost, slowly rose from the spot where the cosmic princess had just vanished. This mist seemed to have a life of its own, twisting and coiling as it gradually spread upward. Within that swirling mist, a giant figure flickered in and out of sight. As the fog gradually dissipated, everyone finally saw the figure. A pitch-black alicorn emanating a powerful aura appeared before them, resembling an endless abyss that sent chills down their spines. "Oh no, Nightmare Moon," Ziyu whispered, calling out the name of the black alicorn on stage, and Sui Long fainted from fright. "Oh, my dear subjects. I feel like it has been so long since I last saw your lovely little faces," Nightmare Moon said nostalgically from the stage. "What have you done to our princess?" The reckless Yun Bao intended to confront her directly, but fortunately, Applejack held onto Yun Bao's mane with her teeth. Nightmare Moon tilted her head back, her laughter like the screech of a night owl, slowly spilling forth from her throat. "What's wrong? Is having me as a princess not enough? Don't you recognize me? Oh, another guessing game. Grey Mist or the Wicked Queen? No, it's the Black Widow." In order to prevent Beaky from saying something even more malicious, Applejack chose to stuff food into her mouth. "After being imprisoned for 1,000 years, does my crown no longer count? Have the legends been forgotten? Don't you know the prophecy?" Nightmare Moon teased the little ponies with magic, checking to see if they still remembered her as the former princess. "Oh, there are still some ponies who remember me. So, do you know what I plan to do?" Ziyu looked around at the little ponies, who seemed too scared to voice Nightmare Moon's intentions. "Remember this day? Forget the daytime. From now on, this place will be forever night." Ha ha ha. As she spoke, dense blue-purple mist surged forth from her, like a roaring tide, quickly encircling her in rapidly spinning smoke rings. These rings piled upon each other, spiraling upward as if to break through the sky. Meanwhile, dazzling lightning flashed within the mist, appearing and disappearing like silver snakes dancing, occasionally producing crackling sounds that struck fear into the hearts of those present. The entire scene was eerie and terrifying, filled with an endless sense of pressure and danger. "Capture her. Only she knows where the cosmic princess is." The mayor commanded the knights to attack Nightmare Moon. "Step back, fools." Nightmare Moon's eyes glowed as she repelled the knights who tried to grab her with lightning, then transformed into mist and darted out of the auditorium. Yun Bao saw Nightmare Moon escape and broke free from Applejack's hold, chasing after her out of the auditorium. Unfortunately, Yun Bao was too late. Nightmare Moon had already floated far away. "Yes, you know?" Ziyu asked in surprise, countering Mu Yun Duoduo. I read about it in a book. We have to stop Nightmare Moon." Sui Long, though exhausted, still remembered the need to stop Nightmare Moon. "You've been awake all night, Sui Long. You're still just a baby dragon. Let's go talk outside. The most important thing now is to find the elements of harmony." Ziyu turned off the lights and went downstairs with Mu Yun Duoduo to chat. "Harmony, harmony, harmony. Without the elements of harmony, how can I stop Nightmare Moon?" "Ziyu, I think I found." Just as Mu Yun Duoduo was about to tell Ziyu that she had found a book about the elements of harmony, Yun Bao barged in. "Quick, tell me what the elements of harmony are, and how do you know about Nightmare Moon? Are you a spy?" Yun Bao pressed Ziyu, leaving her no way to retreat. "Wait a minute, girls, can I say something?" Mu Yun Duoduo couldn't stand it any longer. Her words had been interrupted. "About Nightmare Moon, that's a legend, but what's happening now proves it's a prophecy." "Ziyu, I found a book about the elements of harmony. Look, the Elements of Harmony Reference Guide. Thank goodness, finally found it. But let's explain about Nightmare Moon first. I know the prophecy about Nightmare Moon. Only by obtaining some mysterious object called the Elements of Harmony can we completely stop her. But I don't know what they are, where to find them, or what they can be used for. However, now that we've found the Elements of Harmony Reference Guide, the problem is solved." Ziyu shared what she knew about Nightmare Moon. Using magic, Ziyu took the book from Mu Yun Duoduo's hands and opened it. And all the little ponies turned their gazes toward the Elements of Harmony Reference Guide. There are 6 elements of harmony in total, but only 5 are known: kindness, optimism, generosity, honesty, and loyalty. No one knows what the 6th one is. But it is said that the last place where the 5 elements of harmony appeared was the ancient castle of the Royal Pony Sisters. And that ancient castle is located in the Everfree Forest. I'm still a bit sleepy. Ziyu, you and Jinchi go ahead. I need to catch up on some sleep. Mu Yun Duoduo could no longer hold on. She had only slept a little while, which was far from enough to restore her energy, so she had to excuse herself. Besides, she was unsure if following them would change the outcome of the Elements of Harmony. What would happen if Ziyu couldn't obtain them? Yawn after yawn. Mu Yun Duoduo went upstairs to continue sleeping, not forgetting to remind Ziyu and Zhenqi to go to the Everfree Forest together. But when they arrived outside the Everfree Forest, Ziyu said, "You guys shouldn't listen to Mu Yun Duoduo. Listen, I really appreciate your kindness. But this time I hope to go alone." Ziyu chose to go to the Everfree Forest alone to find the elements of harmony and defeat Nightmare Moon. She would absolutely not let any other ponies fall into danger. Of course not, dear. Have you forgotten Mu Yun Duoduo's request? We absolutely won't let a friend go to that scary place alone. Applegyre led Zhenqi and the others into the Eternal Freedom Forest while talking, including the timid Ro. "We will stick to you like the sugar on a candy apple," Applegyre added. "If there are candy apples, we definitely have to go." Vicky looked at Ziyue and asked, "What's wrong?" "Candy apples are so delicious." Ziyue watched them one by one enter the Eternal Freedom Forest. Although she felt somewhat reluctant, it was too late to turn back. She sighed helplessly and followed with heavy steps. The unknown world inside the Eternal Freedom Forest was quietly waiting for her exploration. Chapter 9. The mysterious blue-purple mist. Mu Yun Duo slowly walked up the stairs, but she did not rest as she had said. Instead, she stood quietly at the window, her gaze fixed on the direction Ziyue and the others had left, silently praying for their safety. "May you have a safe journey. My good friends, especially you, Ziyue. You can overcome all difficulties and achieve your goals," Mu Yun Duo whispered. A gentle breeze brushed her cheek, stirring a few strands of hair. Her eyes revealed sincere concern and expectation. In this tranquil moment, it seemed as if the entire world was left with her deep thoughts for her friends. Ziyue and her group walked along the path in the Eternal Freedom Forest. "Has anyone here ever been to this forest?" Ziyue asked, looking at the forest's environment. "And it feels really strange. They all say it's different from Little Maria." Just as everyone was immersed in the scene before them, no one noticed a blue-purple mist quietly seeping out from an inconspicuous corner, curling like a lively snake as it slithered underground. The mist seemed to possess life and consciousness, constantly changing shape as it burrowed underground, sometimes elongating and thinning, sometimes expanding into a mass, sending chills down the spine. Everything around continued to operate as usual, with no one aware of this mysterious phenomenon. "What does different mean?" Ziyue continued to ask. Suddenly, a series of piercing screams echoed through the air. The originally solid and flat road cracked open without warning, as if the earth had opened a terrifying mouth, ready to swallow everything. At this critical moment, Yunbao and Ro quickly spread their wings and flew up gracefully like two elegant birds, escaping the danger. However, the other ponies were not so lucky. They looked in horror as the ground beneath them continued to crack and collapse, accompanied by desperate cries as they rapidly fell down that path. The mist that had just burrowed underground seemed to sense this perfect opportunity. It quietly emerged from those inconspicuous corners while the ponies were in a panic. "Quick, Ro, let us go." Yunbao rushed down. Oh my gosh. Ro didn't understand why the road had collapsed, but the most important thing now was to save people. Yunbao and Ro saved Biki and Zhenqi, while Applegyre and Ziyue were still falling. The difference was that Applegyre had grabbed onto a tree root, while Ziyue's half-body was dangling off the cliff, unable to exert any strength. Applegyre, fearing that Ziyue couldn't hold on, quickly let go of the tree root and slid down above Ziyue to hold on. "I'm coming. Applegyre, what should I do?" Suddenly, Applegyre saw Yunbao and Ro, who had already settled Biki and Zhenqi, flying in the air waiting to save someone. "Let go," Applegyre said seriously to Ziyue, her eyes firm and focused. But Ziyue did not believe Applegyre and retorted, "Are you crazy?" "No, I'm not crazy. I promise you will be fine." Applegyre reassured Ziyue, hoping she could let go, because Applegyre knew that Yunbao and Ro would definitely catch her. It would be strange if everything is fine. Ziyue still didn't want to let go, as she felt that Applegyre was lying to her. Applegyre sincerely said to Ziyue, "You have to trust me. I would never joke with your life, Ziyue. Let go, you will be fine." Finally, Ziyue looked at Applegyre and chose to trust her, letting go of her hand. But fear made Ziyue unable to hold back her scream, as if this could lessen the pain. "I'm so sorry. I usually only hug one or two little rabbits," Ro explained apologetically. Applegyre also slowly jumped at the edge of the cliff, falling down. Meanwhile, the mysterious blue-purple mist keenly sensed that the actions of these few people were not in danger. It rushed toward the path they were about to walk with astonishing speed. In the middle of the path, a fierce scorpion-tailed lion stood majestically, its sharp gaze fixed ahead, as if waiting for prey to walk into its trap. Ziyue and her group continued toward the ancient castle of the royal pony sisters, with Yunbao explaining how she had just saved Ziyue in the air. Yes, Yimbao, I know. Thank you very much. But before Ziyue could finish speaking, a scorpion-tailed lion blocked their way. Ah, scorpion-tailed lion. We have to get past here. Jinshi, Applegyre, and Yunbao took turns trying to make the scorpion-tailed lion move aside, but it didn't budge. In the end, Ziyue and Applegyre prepared to charge and push past the scorpion-tailed lion when Ro rushed in between Ziyue and the scorpion-tailed lion, shouting, "Wait." Ro stopped Ziyue and the others and walked toward the scorpion-tailed lion to comfort it. It's okay. She then rubbed her head against the scorpion-tailed lion's foot. The scorpion-tailed lion gradually relaxed from its attack state and placed its claws in front of Ro. At that moment, everyone's attention was drawn to the scorpion-tailed lion's claws, where a deep purple spike was embedded. The spike was like a flash of lightning in the night, strikingly noticeable and blinding. Seeing this, Ro instantly understood why the scorpion-tailed lion had suddenly gone mad. A wave of compassion surged in her heart, and she softly said, "Oh, you poor little darling. It's okay. It might hurt a little bit now." After saying that, Ro cautiously approached the scorpion-tailed lion, opened her mouth, and gently bit the purple spike, pulling it out of the scorpion-tailed lion's claw. As the spike was removed, the scorpion-tailed lion seemed to feel a wave of pain. It suddenly extended its claws and grabbed Ro. Ro was startled, but did not struggle or resist. While everyone was worried for Ro, the scorpion-tailed lion merely let out a loud roar toward the sky, as if venting its pain and fear. After the roar, the scorpion-tailed lion released its claws and gratefully licked Ro's mane. Its tongue was gentle and warm, as if expressing deep gratitude to Ro. Ro smiled and petted the scorpion-tailed lion's head, her eyes full of tenderness and love. "You're just a cute little kitty, aren't you? Little darling, little sweetheart." Seeing that Ro was fine, everyone finally felt relieved. As they were leaving, Ziyue asked Ro how she knew the scorpion-tailed lion was injured. Chapter 10. The Beardless Water Monster. As Jinshi walked, she kept complaining, "I really don't want to see such an ugly place." She frowned, her eyes revealing a hint of disgust and fear. The group continued deeper into the forest, and the light gradually dimmed. They could barely make out the path, relying solely on the faint moonlight to discern direction. The surroundings were quiet, only occasionally interrupted by the rustling of leaves in the wind and the calls of unknown animals, breaking the silence. In this dim environment, everyone's mood grew heavier, and their footsteps unconsciously slowed. No one knew how many unknown dangers and secrets were hidden in this mysterious forest. Ziyue and her friends could only huddle closely together, filled with fear of this mysterious and eerie eternal freedom forest. It felt as if every leaf and every branch concealed unknown dangers and horrors. To dispel the fear that was constantly spreading within them, they could only desperately keep talking, trying to break the oppressive silence with their voices. However, even so, that fear still lingered like a shadow. At that moment, the blue-purple mist seemed to come alive and chased after them, swiftly weaving into the surrounding trees like ghosts. The once ordinary trees were instantly shrouded in this eerie mist and began to change. The trunks twisted and deformed, and the branches intertwined like claws reaching for the sky. The leaves rustled, as if whispering some terrible secret. The whole scene became increasingly sinister and terrifying, sending chills down their spines. Applejack suddenly spoke up. "Oh, I think I stepped on something." She raised her hoof to see the mud on it. But Rarity suddenly screamed, and Applejack turned to comfort her, saying, "Don't be scared. It's just mud." Then they saw a single eye abruptly grow on one of the tree trunks, staring intently at them. Below it, a massive gaping mouth opened, lined with sharp, menacing fangs. Not only that, the entire bark of the tree had turned bright red, as if stained by some liquid. Upon hearing the scream, the others looked around in terror. They were even more frightened when they saw that it wasn't just this tree that had undergone such a horrifying transformation. Many of the surrounding trees had also taken on the same eerie and terrifying appearance. Upon closer inspection, it seemed that the trees were slowly closing in on them. But amidst this tense atmosphere, bursts of laughter suddenly reached Ziyue and the others' ears. They opened their eyes to find Pinkie Pie making funny faces at the strange trees. The ponies looked at Pinkie Pie in surprise. "Pinkie, what are you doing? Run." But Pinkie Pie started singing instead. Pinkie led Ziyue and the others to solve the eerie trees with laughter, and they all lay down on the ground together, laughing heartily. However, when they tried to continue walking, a rushing river blocked their way. "How do we get across?" The ponies peeked out from behind Pinkie. Then they heard a cry. Pushing through the nearby bushes, they saw a water monster with half of its mustache missing, crying while beating the water with its body. Ziyue remembered what Rarity had said about how sometimes a little kindness could solve problems, and she decided to speak up. "I'm sorry, sir. Why are you crying?" Is this called disfigurement? After all this fuss, it's just half a mustache. That mustache is important. How can you be so inconsiderate? Rarely couldn't help but retort, how pitiful. Just look at him. His scales are so shiny. Yeah, his hairstyle is so professionally done. Right. With a beautiful mustache, everything would be perfect. Yeah, my life is ruined. The water monster could no longer contain its surging emotions, hugging its massive head tightly and letting out a heart-wrenching wail. This is a devastating destruction of beauty. Rarely would never stand by and do nothing. Taking a deep breath, Rarely fixed her determined gaze on the massive and hideous water monster in front of her. In an instant, she exerted her strength and swiftly ripped off a gigantic, glimmering scale from the monster's tough body. Without hesitation, Rarely swung the sharp scale in her hand and struck her own beautiful, long tail. With a brilliant flash of light, Rarely's tail instantly separated from her body. However, she did not pause for a moment. She quickly cast a magical spell, and a dazzling, colorful light entwined around her severed tail, accurately attaching it to the water monster's already damaged mustache. When the water monster finally reacted from its shock, it couldn't help but open its mouth wide, letting out a deafening roar. "My mustache, it's amazing. Rarely, your beautiful tail." Ziyue looked regretfully at the tail that had been cut off. "But mustaches will grow back," Yunbao countered. The mysterious and gigantic water monster, to express its deep gratitude towards Rarely, made a surprising move. It slowly moved its massive body, bending gracefully to allow Ziyue and the others to pass through the wide river. The water monster silently bore the weight of everyone, remaining still until they all safely reached the other side. Chapter 11. The ancient castle of the royal sisters. The ponies finally saw the ancient castle that housed the essence of harmony after overcoming numerous obstacles. Ziyue excitedly dashed forward. However, just as she was about to reach her destination, she suddenly found that the bridge in front of her had broken. This sudden change caught Ziyue off guard, and her body continued to rush forward due to inertia, nearly causing her to fall off the broken bridge. "Why do you keep jumping off cliffs today, Ziyue?" Pinky looked at the broken bridge and said, "What do we do now?" Just when everyone was at a loss, Yunbao stepped forward and said, "Watch this." Then she spread her wings, grabbed the rope on the bridge, and flew to the other side. Just as Yunbao was about to tie the rope to the post, she suddenly heard someone calling her name. This voice did not come from Ziyue and the others, but seemed to be playing tricks. The surrounding mist slowly gathered around, matching the eerie atmosphere. A wave of blue-purple mist drifted past Yunbao's underside, moving behind her. Yunbao couldn't wait to catch whoever was playing tricks. "Who's there?" "I'm not afraid of you. Come out," she said, punching the air around her. "We've always been here, waiting for Pony Maria's best flyer." The voice finally stopped repeating Yunbao's name, but said something nonsensical. "Who is it?" Yunbao asked in confusion. "Oh, of course, it's you," the voice sneered. Yunbao was very surprised. She could hardly believe her name had reached the Eternal Freedom Forest. She asked again, "Really? I mean, it's me? Could you please tell the Lightning Mare Squad? I've always wanted to join the Great Lightning Mare Squad." "No, Yunbao, I hope you join our Shadow Mare Squad." 3 ponies in black and purple uniforms rushed out from the mist to stand before Yunbao. "We are the best mare squad in the Eternal Freedom Forest, and soon we will be the best mare squad in Pony Maria. But right now, we need a captain. That would be the most handsome, skilled, brave, and fearless flyer. We need you." The Shadow Mare Squad tried to entice Yunbao. However, even so, Yunbao did not forget why she came here. "I'll agree, but let me fix the bridge first." "No, it's us or them." The Shadow Mare Squad pressured Yunbao to choose between friendship and career. "Yunbao, what are you hesitating for?" "Oh no, don't believe them." Ziyue felt uneasy seeing Yunbao talking to the other ponies. Yunbao looked at Ziyue and the others, then at the Shadow Mare Squad. At that moment, the Shadow Mare Squad, fearing that Ziyue would disrupt their plans, thickened the surrounding mist with magic. "You value me, and I'm glad. But I can't let my friends down." After some consideration, Yunbao refused them, then tied the rope to the post and flew back to Ziyue and the others. Meanwhile, those originally fierce members of the Shadow Mare Squad, who had tried to stop Yunbao's actions, saw they could not change Yunbao's firm resolution and became extremely unwilling. They neighed angrily, but in the end, they could only helplessly transform into swirling blue-purple mist filled with unwillingness and regret, gradually disappearing into the distant sky. "We're almost there." "Great. Look, I never let my friends down," Yunbao Fei promised beside Ziyue. After countless difficulties and layers of obstacles, Ziyue and her companions finally arrived at the legendary ancient castle where the harmony element was placed. The castle had weathered the vicissitudes of time and now appeared dilapidated. But even so, glimpses of its past glory and splendor could still be seen among the ruins. From a distance, The castle walls were covered with cracks and signs of erosion, resembling an old and mysterious painting. The walls had lost their former upright stature, some leaning precariously, while others had collapsed, becoming a heap of rubble. Entering the castle's interior, they saw that the spacious hall was overgrown with weeds and moss. The once magnificent palace was now reduced to crumbling bricks and tiles. However, this seemingly ruined castle exuded an indescribable charm. Perhaps it was due to the weight of history it carried, or perhaps the powerful force contained within the harmony element still slumbered here. Ziyue and her companions cautiously navigated through the ruins, filled with a sense of awe. Upon entering the castle hall, Ziyue immediately spotted the tall stone tower that was different from the others. The circular stone tower extended 5 beams outward, each ending with a round stone ball. At the top of the tower stood a larger stone ball than the 5 below. Ziyue looked at the stone balls on the tower and excitedly said, "This is the harmony element. We found it." Yunbao and Ro, the 2 winged horses, brought the 5 carved stone balls to Ziyue. The group counted and discovered there were only 5 stone balls, which did not match the 6 mentioned in the harmony element reference guide. There are only 5 here. Where is the 6th? Yunbao asked Ziyue in confusion. The book says that after gathering 5, just 1 spark is needed to reveal the 6th harmony element, Ziyue explained. What does that mean? I don't know, but I have an idea. Please step back, girls. Ziyue thought she would try to see if she could make the 6th harmony element appear. Let's go. Girls, let her concentrate. Applejack led the other ponies out of the hall, fearing they might disrupt Ziyue's concentration. Just as Ziyue was fully focused, trying her best to summon the 6th harmony element, the mysterious blue-purple smoke that had continuously caused them trouble along the way silently appeared like a ghost. It swept in with lightning speed, targeting the powerful energy of the harmony elements. The smoke quickly enveloped the harmony elements, as if to take them away forever. Ziyue had just opened her eyes when she was frightened by the terrifying and shocking scene before her. Without thinking, her body instinctively lunged towards the harmony elements, trying to stop the smoke's malicious act. However, the power of the smoke seemed beyond imagination, and Ziyue was taken away by the smoke to an unknown location. Faced with such an unexpected situation, everyone was in a panic, unsure of what to do. Just when they were at a loss, the sharp-eyed Jinshi suddenly noticed a dazzling white light emanating from a nearby tower. With their keen intuition, they concluded that Ziyue must have been taken to that place by the mysterious smoke. Without hesitation, Applejack took the lead, and the group rushed towards the tower, determined to find Ziyue and rescue her. Chapter 12. The spark in the heart ignites friendship. A flash of white light brought Ziyue and the harmony element to another part of the castle. Here, not only was Ziyue present, but also Nightmare Moon, who was now controlling the harmony element to float beside her. She had originally expected that when Ziyue charged towards her, they would collide fiercely. In her mind, this impact would make Ziyue deeply realize the insignificance and fragility of her own power. However, to her surprise, at that critical moment, the horn atop Ziyue's head suddenly shone with brilliant light. The light was not as she had anticipated, a prelude to a fierce attack, but instead cast a rare short-distance teleportation spell. Ziyue's figure vanished from her spot like a ghost and reappeared several meters away in another position. The whole process was as fast as lightning, leaving everyone stunned. Only when Ziyue stood in the middle of the harmony element did she suddenly realize that she had been tricked and hurried to the side of the harmony element. However, Ziyue had already created a slight electric current between the 5 harmony elements with a spark. Ziyue arrogantly looked at Nightmare Moon, as if she could see her being defeated in the next second. But things did not go as Ziyue hoped. The slight electric current between the harmony elements flickered and then returned to silence. What? Where is the 6th harmony element? Ziyue looked at the harmony element beneath Nightmare Moon's feet in disbelief, not understanding why the 6th harmony element did not appear even though the spark had manifested. You little fool, did you think you could defeat me? From now on, you will never see your princess or sunshine again. The world will be forever in darkness. Nightmare Moon mocked Ziyue's overconfidence. Suddenly, Ziyue heard the voices of Applejack and the others. They had come to find her. It was only then that Ziyue realized the spark that would reveal the 6th harmony element came from her own heart. So Ziyue said to Nightmare Moon, "No? Do you think you can destroy the harmony element like this? You're completely wrong. The spirit represented by the harmony element is here. Applejack gave me confidence when I had doubts. She represents the spirit of honesty. Ro tamed the scorpion-tailed lion with her compassion. She represents the spirit of kindness. Pinkie Pie dispelled fear with her laughter in the face of danger. She represents the spirit of optimism. Jinshi sacrificed herself to comfort a grieving sea dragon. She represents the spirit of generosity. Yunbao would never abandon her friends to satisfy her own wishes. She represents the spirit of loyalty. But the spark did not work. The sixth harmony element did not appear. Nightmare Moon stubbornly rebutted Ziyue. At that moment, a flash of light caught everyone's attention. It was the sixth harmony element. The sixth harmony element slowly descended to Ziyue's head and then emitted a white light, which made Nightmare Moon shield her eyes with her wings. Nightmare Moon. The 5 harmony elements have been ignited by the spark in our hearts. The sixth one about to appear is the element of magic. The element of magic emitted an even more dazzling light, surrounding Ziyue and her friends in a radiant glow. The shattered harmony elements formed necklaces that adorned Applejack and the others' necks, while the sixth harmony element transformed into a crown placed on Ziyue's head. The 6 of them gathered together, powerful magic coursing through their bodies, emitting a rainbow of light that surged towards Nightmare Moon, surrounding her. After a burst of light, everyone lay exhausted on the ground. "Hello, Ziyue, my most loyal student. I knew you could do it," the Cosmic Princess said, looking at Ziyue with satisfaction. Ziyue, however, said unconfidently, "But you told me before that this was just a legend." "Sister." All the ponies were shocked by the Cosmic Princess's mention of a sister. They never expected that Nightmare Moon was the Cosmic Princess's sister. "Can you accept my friendship?" The Cosmic Princess, unconcerned about the shock of others, silently gazed at the Moon Princess. "I'm sorry, I miss you so much, sister," the Moon Princess said, leaping into the Cosmic Princess's arms. The Cosmic Princess looked down at the Moon Princess in her embrace with nostalgia, saying, "I miss you too." Meanwhile, in the library, Muyu and Suilong also woke up. "Really? Then let's hurry out to meet Ziyue and the others," Suilong said excitedly, running out of the library, pulling Muyu along to the entrance of Ponyville. Sure enough, Ziyue and her friends were waiting there, and Suilong jumped into Ziyue's arms. A carriage flew down from the sky, carrying the Cosmic Princess and the Moon Princess. After they got off the carriage, 2 little flying horses placed a beautifully crafted flower crown around the Moon Princess's neck. Everyone was very happy except for Ziyue, as she suddenly realized that the danger of the Nightmare Moon had been resolved, which meant she had to leave Ponyville, leaving her newly made friends behind. The time was too short. She had just discovered how wonderful it was to have friends, but had to leave immediately. Ziyue explained to the Cosmic Princess. The Cosmic Princess, understanding Ziyue's concerns, smiled wryly at Suilong and said, "Suilong, please take note. I, the Cosmic Princess, hereby order the unicorn Ziyue to complete a new mission for Pony Maria. I hope she will continue to study the magic of friendship, report her insights in a timely manner, and from now on reside in Ponyville." "Congratulations, Ziyue." "Thank you, Cosmic Princess," said Muyu Duoduo and Applejack together in gratitude to the Cosmic Princess. Chapter 13. Muyu Duoduo who cannot use magic after the Nightmare Moon incident. Ponyville finally returned to peace, or perhaps not so peaceful. How do I use magic? Muyu Duoduo, who had exhausted all means, collapsed onto the ground, with the cup of water on the table remaining motionless, seemingly mocking her futility. Damn it, damn it, damn it. That little cup is too much. Muyu Duoduo felt a bit defeated, but after thinking for a moment, she decided to persevere. After all, being the only unicorn in this era who couldn't use magic felt so out of place. Is it because I came from another world that I can't learn magic? I can't even do a simple levitation spell? As the saying goes, in a group of 3, there must be a teacher for me. Why not ask Ziyue? Determined, Muyu Duoduo found Ziyue, who was reading in the first floor of the library. "Ziyue, can you teach me how to use magic? What's wrong? Are there some spells you can't do?" Ziyue put down her book and looked at Muyu Duoduo. Muyu Duoduo didn't know how to explain to Ziyue that it wasn't just some spells she couldn't do, but that she couldn't use magic at all. "Ziyue, do you remember that I lost my memory? I just realized today that I've forgotten how to cast spells." "Oh my gosh, why didn't you say this sooner? This is a big deal. Can you feel the magic power inside you?" Ziyue looked at Muyu Duoduo in shock, as she had never seen a unicorn who couldn't use magic. "Yes, try to see if you can mobilize it," Ziyue encouraged sincerely. "I'll try." Muyu Duoduo closed her eyes, hoping to feel and mobilize her magic faster. However, after holding her breath for a while, she ended up letting out a hiccup, and she smiled shyly. "Looks like it doesn't work. I'll look for some materials to see if there's a pony like you." Ziyue comforted Muyu Duoduo, who had not managed to cast any magic. "All right, I'll go explore other places." Muyu Duoduo didn't want to put all her hopes on Ziyue. She also needed to actively search for any way to use magic herself. Muyu Duoduo decided to ask Jinshi at the Carousel Boutique if there was any way for her to use magic. Welcome to the Carousel Boutique, where every outfit is trendy, unique, and beautiful. "Oh, Duoduo, it's you. What do you want to buy at the boutique? Jinchi asked, putting down what she was working on. Ask away, dear. As long as I know, I'll tell you everything. Jinchi flipped her hair and looked at Duoduo curiously. Oh my gosh, dear. Why didn't you say this sooner? This is a big deal. Can you feel the magic power inside you? Jinchi was also shocked to look at Duoduo. Well, Zeus said the same thing. I can feel the magic power. I just don't know how to mobilize it. Duoduo shared her current progress with Jinchi, hoping it would help her think of a way to use magic. I'm sorry, dear, I don't know either. Magic just comes out naturally. Jinchi said regretfully. That's okay, I understand. I'll go explore other places. Maybe I can find a way to use magic. Duoduo accepted Jinchi's response without surprise and comforted her in return. However, as soon as Duoduo stepped out of the boutique, she quickly lowered her head. She had originally hoped to find someone to help her solve her problem, but reality dealt her a heavy blow. Zeus couldn't help, and neither could Jinchi. Who else has this ability? Keela, the one who once led her successfully out of the Eternal Freedom Forest, Keela. Moreover, Keela is also a doctor, solving many difficult problems. Perhaps she really has a way. Clutching her last bit of hope, Duoduo resolutely set her steps toward the Eternal Freedom Forest. However, when she actually set foot in this forest, she realized that things were far from simple. Although she clearly remembered that Keela lived in the Eternal Freedom Forest, she had no idea where Keela's specific residence was. Looking at the intricate paths and towering trees in front of her, Duoduo couldn't help but feel a wave of confusion and helplessness. But she did not back down. Instead, she took a deep breath, secretly telling herself to persevere. Thus, she began to cautiously explore the forest, taking one step at a time, not overlooking any place that might hold a clue to Keela's whereabouts. A chilling wolf howl echoed from a distance. The source of this howl was her familiar old friend, the wood wolf. Hearing the sound, Duoduo's heart tightened, and her brows furrowed. She thought to herself, oh, it's them again. It seems this path won't work. I should quickly change routes. Without hesitation, she turned and walked down a path that did not echo with wolf howls, proceeding cautiously. In this quiet and mysterious forest, Duoduo knew she was in danger and could not afford to be careless. Therefore, despite her urgent desire to find Keela, she did not call out her name loudly. After all, no one could predict whether it would be the longed-for Keela or some other unknown and dangerous entity that would be attracted first. However, even though Duoduo was extremely cautious, she still encountered difficulties. In front of her was a huge bear, which looked like the bear cub that Zeus would later return to the Eternal Freedom Forest. Fortunately, the bear cub seemed not to have noticed her and was slowly passing by in front of her. Duoduo held her breath and dared not relax even slightly. After a while, the bear cub finally walked out of her line of sight. Thank goodness it's finally gone. Just as Duoduo relaxed, an even larger bear appeared behind her, sniffing her scent with its nose. Duoduo now dared not move at all, fearing that any movement would be seen as a provocation by the bear. But her wish was still in vain. The bear raised its paw high, looking like it was about to swat Duoduo away. Duoduo was terrified at the sight. There was no time to escape. She could only hope that the magic power within her would work in this critical moment. It seemed that the divine heard Duoduo's prayer, and a white light flashed from her horn, causing her to leave her original spot. Duoduo opened her eyes to find herself in a house, with Keela looking at her in surprise. The walls around them were filled with colorful potions and exotic crafts. Oh, how did you get here? Why are you in such a panic? Keela looked at Duoduo in shock. Oh well, seeing that Duoduo was fine, Keela didn't pay her much mind and continued to brew the potion in the pot. No, there's still one thing I need your help with. Duoduo suddenly remembered that she didn't know how to leave the Eternal Freedom Forest and asked, can you take me out of the Eternal Freedom Forest again? Keela replied, no problem, it's already resolved. The clouds of dusk said to Zeus, but still, thank you, Zeus. Really? That's great. Chapter 14. Work crisis. The magic problem has been solved, but there is still a work crisis. Not to mention anything else, if she doesn't have a job, she can't even cover her daily expenses. I must find a job that suits me today, Dusk Cloud secretly told herself, then turned around and began to dress up carefully, preparing to face a new challenge. After careful consideration, she decided to make Sweet Apple Orchard her first target for job hunting. Applejack. Dusk Cloud saw Applejack busy with farm work from a distance. Dusk, what brings you here? Applejack asked in confusion as Dusk Cloud ran up to her. I wanted to ask if Sweet Apple Orchard is hiring. Dusk Cloud said shyly, looking at Applejack. Sorry, dear. It's not the busy season right now, so we don't really need to hire anyone new. You might want to check elsewhere, Applejack said with a hint of guilt. Feeling she couldn't help her friend, Dusk Cloud noticed Applejack's guilt and comforted her. It's okay. I'll look somewhere else. She left Sweet Apple Orchard and walked along a winding little road. Soon, an exquisite building appeared in front of her, the Carousel Boutique. The shop's exterior was filled with fairy tale colors, with a giant carousel model on the roof, and the colorful wooden horses seemed ready to gallop at any moment. Taking a deep breath, Dusk Cloud walked into the dreamy atmosphere of the boutique. Rarity, are you hiring? Dusk Cloud asked Rarity as she entered. Sorry, dear. I don't have many jobs here, and I don't need any extra help at the moment. Rarity politely declined Dusk Cloud's desire to help out. That's okay. I'll check in with Mrs. Cake, Dusk Cloud said, not feeling sad about Rarity's refusal. She had a map in her heart and planned to check all the shops on it first. I hope you find a job soon, dear. Rarity genuinely wished Dusk Cloud well. Thank you. I appreciate your words. Dusk Cloud hurried in and hurried out. The third target was the cake shop. From a distance, the cake shop looked like a dreamlike fairy tale house standing on the street. The shop appeared to be made from desserts. The craftsmanship of the pony who built it was so exquisite that one couldn't help but wonder if the house was really edible. Once inside the cake shop, it was a whole different world. Rows of beautifully made cupcakes and donuts were displayed in the showcase, tempting the ponies. Dusk Cloud walked into the cake shop and saw Mr. and Mrs. Cake busy at work, with Pinkie Pie helping out. Pinkie, what are you doing here? Dusk Cloud was surprised to see Pinkie, as she thought Pinkie was busy with other things like planning parties. Oh hi, Dusk Cloud. Are you here to buy a super delicious cake? Let me recommend one for you, Pinkie said, clearly not expecting to see Dusk Cloud in the cake shop. No, thank you. I'm here to look for a job. Dusk Cloud politely declined Pinkie's offer. She didn't need a cake right now, but if she found a job, it wouldn't hurt to buy one as a reward. I see. Does Mrs. Cake need to hire a server? Pinkie asked Mrs. Cake on Dusk Cloud's behalf. However, this wasn't what Dusk Cloud needed, so after saying goodbye, she left. I remember there are also a restaurant, a flower shop, a furniture store, and a craft shop in Ponyville. Even though I don't know the owners, I should give it a try. At the restaurant. Hello, sir, do you need a server? Sorry, it's not very busy here. At the flower shop. Miss, are you hiring? I'm really sorry, dear, but there's usually not much going on here. I can manage alone. At the furniture store. Sir, do you need a salesperson? No, thank you, miss. At the craft shop. Hello, do you need to hire? Sorry, there aren't usually many customers here. I can handle it alone. Unfortunately, all these shops turned Dusk Cloud down for the same reason. They could manage without extra help. Dear, what's wrong? Why do you look like that? Ziyue asked when she saw Dusk Cloud's downcast expression. Ziyue, I haven't found a job, Dusk Cloud said with a drooping face. You haven't found a job? Why don't you become a librarian? Ziyue suggested after some thought. Huh, aren't you the librarian? I can't take your job. Dusk Cloud quickly rejected the idea, not wanting to take Ziyue's position. Chapter 15. The librarian. No, Ziyue isn't the librarian. She and I just live here. Suilong reminded Dusk Cloud to think carefully about what the Cosmic Princess had said. The Cosmic Princess said, I, the Cosmic Princess, hereby command the unicorn Ziyue to complete a new mission for Pony Maria. I hope she continues to study the magic of friendship and report her insights in a timely manner, and from now on reside in Ponyville. Yeah, the Cosmic Princess didn't say Ziyue would be the librarian. She only said for Ziyue to continue studying the magic of friendship and report her findings while residing in Ponyville. So, does that mean I really can be the librarian? Dusk Cloud thought, but then she wondered if they should inform the mayor since the library belongs to Ponyville. Dusk Cloud privately contemplated the matter regarding the library. She always believed that such an important public facility as a library should be owned by the public. If that's the case, then all matters related to it, such as hiring and salary distribution, should be handled by public personnel. And in this small town, the person who can make those key decisions is none other than the mayor. After all, as the mayor, she not only bears the responsibility of managing the entire town, but also possesses the power to allocate various resources. Therefore, only when the mayor personally intervenes can the hiring and salary distribution at the library proceed smoothly. After all, if she became the librarian, her salary would also be issued by the mayor. She must ask the mayor. Well, I think what you said makes sense. How about we go ask tomorrow? It's already late, and the mayor might be asleep. Also, Suilong, you're helping Rarity tomorrow, so you don't need to come with us to find the mayor, Ziyue said, thinking Dusk Cloud's words were reasonable, and reminded Suilong that he had things to do the next day. So, Ziyue decided to go find the mayor with Dusk Cloud tomorrow to ask if Dusk Cloud could be the librarian. All right, I'll follow your lead. Dusk Cloud thought it was a good idea, and since it was already dark outside, the mayor might be asleep, so she didn't want to disturb her. The next day, before dawn, Dusk Cloud woke up because she had thought all night and felt more and more that her chance of becoming the librarian was very high. Why not practice a bit in advance about what to do when someone comes to borrow books, so I don't embarrass myself due to inexperience later? Alright. And returning books too. What does a librarian's daily work include? I think it's responsible for borrowing and returning books, cleaning the library, and purchasing new books for the library, right? Dust Cloud thought uncertainly. That should be it. Wait, there seems to be another task for maintaining the library's facilities, which should only include bookshelves and the reading area. Oh, and I also need to add a reading table. Let us go. Let us find the mayor and ask. Zus said as she entered Dust Cloud's room and saw her daydreaming, reminding her of today's schedule. Oh, sorry, I was a bit lost in thought just now. But Zua, do you think the mayor will agree to arrange a librarian position? Duoduo was just thinking about how to do her job in the future and completely forgot to consider what to do if the mayor disagrees with adding the position. What if the mayor agrees to add the position, but she doesn't get to be the librarian? Don't worry, the mayor will definitely agree. Besides, I think the librarian position must belong to you because your cute emblem is a book. Seeing Duoduo's lack of enthusiasm, Zua could only comfort her. Cute emblem? But my cute emblem has no words on it. Duoduo turned to look at her cute emblem. She examined it closely and saw that the emblem still maintained its familiar blue and pink color scheme, intertwining like a dream. The inner yellow pages resembled a mysterious scroll, seemingly carrying endless secrets, yet not a single word was revealed. These yellow pages are as profound and unfathomable as legendary martial arts in a wuxia drama, difficult to grasp. They lay quietly there, without any text or patterns to reveal their true meaning and power. Perhaps only when Duoduo experiences more adventures and challenges will she gradually unravel the mystery hidden behind this cute emblem. She wondered what her cute emblem meant. Maybe it wanted her to be the librarian. Duoduo shook her head, trying to shake off that idea. If she held on to such thoughts, she would be heartbroken if she didn't get to be the librarian. But Zua, where do we find the mayor? Duoduo asked her first question of the day. Let's go to the auditorium first. After all, the mayor's office is there. Zua suggested a possible location for the mayor. Duoduo thought it made sense. So the two of them walked towards the auditorium together. Mayor. The two had prepared themselves for a day of searching for the mayor, but didn't expect to encounter her so soon. Oh, from the tone of your voice. It seems you have something to discuss with me. What is it? The mayor turned around upon hearing someone call her name, realizing it was Zua and Duoduo, who had just joined Ponyville. We do have something to discuss with you. Let's go to the library, Duoduo suggested. As they hadn't walked very far before running into the mayor. After entering the library and closing the door, the two looked at the mayor, unsure how to start the conversation. However, neither of them was the type to back down, so they spoke together. I hope that I, Duoduo, can be the librarian of the library. Do you agree? The mayor thought for a moment and said, Ponyville's library has never had a librarian before. Since you brought it up this time, let's arrange for such a position. Unexpectedly, the mayor agreed very quickly. Zua and Duoduo thought it would take half a day to persuade her to arrange for a librarian position. The residents of Ponyville all have their own jobs. So the only two who can handle this newly added position are you and Duoduo, but you are unwilling to be the librarian. Therefore, I announce that from today on, Duoduo will be the librarian. The mayor announced this good news to Zua and Duoduo. Yay! The two excitedly hugged each other, happy that Duoduo had become the librarian. However, the salary is 8,000 a month. Is that acceptable? The mayor spoke again. 8,000. Duoduo said in disbelief. Is that too little? How about 9,000? The mayor thought for a moment and increased it by 1,000. No. What I mean is that 8,000 is too much. No need to raise it to 9,000. 8,000 is fine. Duoduo hurriedly denied it, afraid that if she shook her head too slowly, the mayor would think she was greedy. Oh, I see. But since I already raised it to 9,000, I won't change it. The mayor understood the real reason for Duoduo's shock, but said it nonchalantly. All right, 9,000 is even better. Thank you, mayor. Duoduo quickly bowed to the mayor to express her gratitude. Okay, at the beginning of each month, I will have Pony send you your salary. After the mayor finished speaking, she left the library. Zua, did you hear that? I have a job now, and it's 9,000 a month. Duoduo couldn't believe how smooth everything was. I heard it. Congratulations, Duoduo. Zua congratulated her. She also thought it was great because this way, Duoduo could stay in the library without worrying about moving out. Chapter 16 Nameplate 91 Today is my first day at work. What should I do? Usually, not many people come to borrow books, so it won't be very busy. But if I do nothing, my conscience will hurt for taking that 9,000 salary. So, Duoduo decided to clean the library today. First, she turned on all the lights in the library so that all the ponies would know it was borrowing time. Should I make a sign that says open on one side and closed on the other? Let's do it, since it's a sign for long-term use. It can't be made of cardboard. What about making one of those small blackboards that cafes put in front of their stores to attract customers? Right open during the day and closed at night. But a sign that can be flipped and hung on the door is also nice. Now the first task is to find a suitable wooden board. Why not go to Applejack and ask for a piece? Apple wood is easy to use and not prone to rot. Actually, oak would be the best because the library is like a big oak tree. But it seems Ponyville only has one oak tree, which is the library. I'd better go ask Applejack for some apple wood. If I had known, I would have gone with Ziyue and Sway along to help Applejack move apples this morning. Now I can only go by myself, but it's not far from Sweet Apple Acres. Duoduo tidied up a bit, wrote a temporary closed sign, and set off for Sweet Apple Acres. From a distance, she saw Applejack and Rainbow Dash sitting at a table facing each other, their strong arms tightly gripping each other, engaged in an intense arm wrestling match. Applejack had a serious expression, her solid muscle lines slightly bulging as she strained, beads of sweat gradually forming on her forehead. But her gaze remained steadfastly locked on her opponent, as if telling Rainbow Dash that she would never give in easily. On the other side, Rainbow Dash appeared somewhat excited and confident, grinning and showing her white teeth, loudly cheering for herself. Her colorful mane fluttered in the wind like a dazzling rainbow. However, seeing this scene from a distance, Duoduo could only smile slightly, indicating her acceptance of such a sight. Perhaps for her, this vibrant and competitive scene was already commonplace. After all, everyone knows that Applejack and Rainbow Dash love to compete with each other. They've always been competing over things like who is the strongest and who is the bravest. This time, they might be competing over who is stronger. Good morning, girls. Duoduo greeted them warmly. Please wait a moment, Rainbow Dash. I urgently need to talk to Applejack about something. Can I borrow her for a little while? Pretty please? Duoduo smiled as she requested, turning her gaze towards Applejack. Then, she quickly walked up to Applejack, her tone sincere and urgent. I'm sorry, Applejack. But could you please wait a moment longer? I do have something very important to discuss with you. Could you please pause the ongoing match? Thank you so much. Sure. If Applejack lets me go, then I'll let her go. No way. If Rainbow Dash lets me go, then I'll let her go. Duoduo looked at the two of them and helplessly rubbed her forehead. How about this? I will count to 3, 2, 1. When I say 1, you both let go at the same time, okay? Sounds good. Since she agreed, I have no objections. All right. 3, 2, 1. After Applejack and Rainbow Dash exchanged glances, they almost simultaneously released their tightly held hands. Their originally hostile gazes softened a bit, deciding to temporarily set aside their dispute and listen to what Duo had to say. After all, resolving Duo's issue was the most important thing at the moment. Duo, what do you need from me? Applejack asked as she looked at Duo. Oh, I want to ask you for some apple wood to make a sign that can be hung on the door. Applejack listened attentively as Duo spoke, then briskly headed towards the warehouse. She skillfully opened the warehouse door and began to search carefully inside. Before long, she found several pieces of high-quality apple wood with a rich color and set them aside. Then, Applejack smiled at Duo and said, Oh, is that all? Leave it to me. I'll help you make that sign right away. After saying this, she prepared to start making the sign that Duo needed. No, thank you. I think it would be more meaningful for me to do it myself. Duo politely declined Applejack's kindness. Then, she curiously asked while taking the apple wood. But what were you two just arguing about? It's because Ziyue wanted to give me a ticket to the Galloping Horses celebration. But Yunbao came to argue with me about the ticket, they replied. We had to compare who was more qualified to go to the celebration with Ziyue. Don't talk nonsense. Ziyue clearly wants to give me the ticket, because I want to go to the celebration to fulfill my dreams. Yunbao and Applejack quickly started arguing again, and it soon developed into the same situation as when Duo first arrived. Huh. Have we already reached the part about the Galloping Horses celebration tickets? Time flies, Duo thought to herself. She decided not to disturb Applejack and Yunbao's rivalry. After leaving the sweet apple orchard, Duo needed to buy some paint. She had the wood, and now she needed the paint. Not far along, she spotted a stall with 2 unique bottles of paint. One was platinum, and the other was blue silver. The platinum glitter paint resembled the white clouds and dazzling sun in the sky, emitting a captivating glow under the sunlight. Each drop of paint seemed to contain endless mystery and charm, making one irresistibly enamored. Its color was pure and elegant, like a thin veil gently covering the canvas, giving a dreamlike sensation. The blue-silver glitter paint resembled the deep night sky, tranquil, and mysterious. Its tone was as splendid as the Milky Way, twinkling with silver light, as if the stars in the universe were dancing. This color had both a refreshing and unique charm that was hard to resist. So, without a second thought, Duoduo bought these 2 bottles of paint. The platinum would be used when the library opened, and the blue silver when it closed. However, having only these 2 bottles of paint wouldn't suffice, as Duoduo wanted to paint some other things as well. Yes, with the ample apple wood given by Apple Jar, after making a sign for the library, there would still be some left over. She planned to make one for herself and Ziyue each, totaling 9 signs. Duoduo intended to take another look at the other paints at the stall. Unfortunately, only those 2 bottles met her expectations. The other paints didn't quite appeal to her. Therefore, Duoduo decided to look for the versatile Keela. As she approached the library, she saw Ro and a group of small animals gathered at the library entrance. Ro, what is going on? Ro, you can just go in next time, because you are not only Ziyue's friend, but also my friend. We warmly welcome you to come and play with us. So you can come in directly without waiting outside. Okay, Duoduo, what are these wooden blocks and paints for? Ro asked softly. Chapter 17. Tickets for the Galloping Horses Celebration. Oh, these? I want to make a door sign, so I went to collect them, but it's not enough. I'll put down the materials and continue looking for the rest. Duoduo placed the materials she had just collected in a corner that wouldn't obstruct others, and said to Ro, now I have to go. Have fun. Okay, but I'm not here to play. I'm here to clean, Ro said. Watching Duoduo's figure walk away, and had to swallow the rest of her words. Duoduo arrived at the Eternal Freedom Forest once again, but this time she was determined not to get lost. Fortunately, just as she had planned, she successfully found Keela's house. Knock, knock, knock. Who? Keela asked warily. As she lived alone in this forest and had no friends, let alone someone coming to find her. Suddenly, she thought of Duoduo, who had been closely connected with her lately. Duoduo, is that you? It's me, Keela. Please open the door. I have something to discuss with you. Duoduo looked at Keela's door and suddenly thought that she had always been asking Keela for things without giving her anything in return. So she decided to make a sign for Keela as well. Keela opened the door a crack and peeked outside, seeing that it was indeed Duoduo. So she fully opened the door and turned to walk inside. What do you need from me? Keela, don't be so cold to me, Duoduo said playfully. Keela shivered at Duoduo's playful tone. Speak properly. That is so cheesy. Well, you take it and leave quickly. By the way, I suppose I don't need you to escort me out of the Eternal Freedom Forest this time. Keela raised an eyebrow at Duoduo, recalling how she had previously taken Duoduo out of the Eternal Freedom Forest. What do you mean? I'm not directionally challenged. Duoduo glared at Keela, feeling insulted by her words. Fine, since you don't need me to escort you, then take it and go. Keela handed the paint to Duoduo and hurriedly urged her to leave. Why are you rushing me? I still want to stay a while longer, Duoduo said, mimicking Keela's raised eyebrow. Keela, feeling helpless, extended her hoof to rub her forehead, let out a long sigh, and finally, despite her reluctance, nodded her head in agreement to Duoduo's almost unreasonable request. I'm leaving, Keela. Remember to miss me. Duoduo teased as she left. Keela watched Duoduo walk further away through the doorframe until her figure disappeared around the corner. At that moment, a hint of dissatisfaction crept onto her face, and she rolled her eyes dramatically in the direction Duoduo had left. This eye roll seemed to carry all her grievances and discontent, akin to a silent protest. Upon returning to the library, Duoduo saw Ro still cleaning the bookshelves with the animals, so she curiously asked, have you been cleaning all this time? Ro, what are you doing here? How could that be? Ro's words were interrupted by Ziyue, who had just walked in. Oh, hello, Ziyue. I hope you don't mind. I'm doing a spring cleaning right now. It's already summer. Ziyue replied with an unhappy expression. Is that so? You know, doing it late is better than not doing it at all. This was Angel's idea. Angel, who was mixing salad at the desk, looked up and greeted Ziyue. You're not doing this for the tickets, are you? Ziyue raised an eyebrow and asked Ro. Oh no, I'm doing this because you are my best friend. Right, Angel? Ro slowly floated down, but just as she was about to deny it, she saw Angel suddenly lift her foot and stomp hard on Ro's hoof, not just once, but several times in a row. At that moment, Angel also presented her carefully made vegetable salad to Ziyue. Ziyue glanced at the salad and angrily rejected it. No. I appreciate you and Angel. But before I make a decision, Ziyue opened the library's big door, signaling for Ro and her animal friends to leave. I cannot accept any preferential treatment. So please leave immediately. Unexpectedly, a stream of ribbons floated in front of Ziyue as she opened the door, and Beaky forcefully pulled Ziyue out of the library, along with a group of friends, who kept throwing Ziyue up into the air. Beaky, Ziyue had had enough of Biki's attitude. And in order to stop Biki from interrupting her, she had to shout to make herself heard, only to realize that her loud shout caused others to miss catching her. Ziyue fell hard to the ground, and at that moment, Biki added fuel to the fire, asking, "What's wrong, Ziyue?" At least the other ponies were a bit more subtle about the ticket situation. Ziyue angrily sat up and looked at Biki. "Wait, ticket? What do you mean?" The ponies around gathered curiously. "Oh, it's like this. Ziyue has an extra ticket for the Galloping Gala," Biki kindly explained to the confused ponies around. Suddenly, Ziyue became the center of attention, and all the ponies slowly surrounded her, starting to praise her. Some even chased after her to flatter her. "Look, Ziyue seems so popular." Muyi and Duoduo teased Ruru and Biki. "Oh, I think I owe Ziyue an apology." Biki looked at Ziyue, who was constantly avoiding the gazes of the other ponies. Feeling very guilty, "We all owe Ziyue an apology," Ruru added. To Muyi and Duoduo's surprise, soon after, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Rarity also arrived, all wanting to apologize to Ziyue for their actions today. "Oh, friends, don't wait outside, come in." Muyi and Duoduo waved to the newly arrived Applejack and the others. They watched as Ziyue slowly closed the door and turned off the lights. Once Ziyue completely relaxed, Muyi and Duoduo was the first to speak. "Ziyue, at least leave one light on." Saying this, she lit up one lamp. "Muyi and Duoduo, are you also here for the ticket?" Ziyue gave up resisting. She didn't understand why a ticket had made her friends feel so strange. "No, it's not for the ticket. There are a few ponies here who want to apologize to you. Come out, girls," Muyi and Duoduo explained, then turned to the ponies hiding behind her. Chapter 18. Do I also have a ticket? Ziyue saw Applejack and the others come out and immediately broke down, saying, "I can't decide. I really can't decide. I know you all want to go, but I only have 2 tickets. I don't want to disappoint any of you. You are all my good friends. I want you all to be happy, but I can't do it. Dear, I'm really sorry for putting so much pressure on you. I don't want the ticket anymore. You can give it to the other ponies." Applejack was the first to step forward. "Me too, Ziyue. I really feel very sorry for putting you in such a difficult position." Then it was Ruru. "Me too. It's really not fun to make a friend sad." "I'm sorry, Ziyue. I don't want the ticket either." "Yay. So that means the ticket is mine. I got the ticket. I got the ticket." Rainbow Dash was as excited as a happy little bird, hearing that the other friends were voluntarily giving up the precious ticket. She was thrilled and felt like she could fly. With a swoosh, she flew up into the air, waving her arms wildly, her legs kicking nonstop, and she burst into a series of laughs. However, just as Rainbow Dash was caught up in her excitement, she happened to catch a glimpse of the disapproving expressions on Ziyue and the other ponies' faces. In that instant, the joy in Rainbow Dash's heart felt like a bucket of cold water was poured over her, instantly vanishing without a trace. "Oh, I think I need to practice my signature move more before showing it to the Wonderbolts. I don't want the ticket either." At that moment, everyone in the room unconsciously turned their eyes to Muyi and Duoduo, their gazes seeming to bore into her. After all, for everyone, it was hard to imagine that there would be a pony completely uninterested in the upcoming Galloping Gala. However, no matter how hard the ponies found it to believe, the fact before them remained unchanged. Muyi and Duoduo stood quietly in place, her expression calm and resolute, facing the worried and confused gazes of everyone. Muyi and Duoduo bit her lip, hesitated for a moment, and ultimately decided to voice her true feelings. "Although I am very interested in the Galloping Gala, it's clear that these tickets are not enough for us to go together, and I want to leave my friends behind to go to the gala alone. So I don't want this ticket either." Only then did everyone turn to look at Ziyue, and Applejack, feeling guilty, said to Ziyue, "We got too carried away with the gala, and didn't realize we added to your burden." "I'm sorry, Ziyue." Everyone apologized to Ziyue in unison. At that moment, Ziyue slowly scanned the group of precious friends in front of her, her eyes shining with determination and gratitude. Taking a deep breath, as if she had made an important decision, she softly said, "Suilong, please help me write a letter." Upon hearing Ziyue's request, Suilong immediately nodded and took out a piece of snow-white letter paper. Once everything was ready, Suilong looked up, his eyes filled with anticipation and focus, waiting for Ziyue to say what was next. "Dear Princess of the Universe." But Ziyue turned to her friends and said, "Even if one friend can't go, then I won't go either." Applejack quickly advised, "Ziyue, you don't have to do this." "No, I've made up my mind. Suilong, you can send it." Suilong carefully took the already written letter and gently rolled up the 2 tickets for the Galloping Gala that were included in it. He walked lightly to the library window, slowly opening the wooden window. Suilong took a deep breath, opened his mouth, and a stream of fiery dragon flames erupted from him. The flames instantly enveloped the rolled-up letter and tickets, gradually consuming them in the fierce fire. As the flames grew stronger, The ashes seemed to come alive, swirling into the air like dreamlike green smoke, drifting towards the distant horizon. Ruru looked regretfully at the letter that had just been sent, saying, "Now you can't go to the gala either." Ziyue comforted her, "If I don't take my best friends, I want to have fun." The ponies were moved by Ziyue's words and gathered around her. Even Muyi and Duoduo was no exception, just as a few of them were feeling warm. Suilong stuck out his tongue and pretended to gag. "Oh, my loyal student Ziyue, why didn't you tell me about this earlier?" 7 tickets for the Galloping Gala. After reading, Suilong couldn't help but lift the tickets high above his head. The ponies were all excited. These 7 tickets for the Galloping Gala meant that all the ponies could go without leaving anyone behind. Then Ziyue and the others each took the tickets from Suilong and walked out with cheerful steps to celebrate this happy occasion. "What? Am I going to?" Muyi and Duoduo said in disbelief. Because she knew that the ponies truly closely connected to Ziyue were Applejack and the others, and this circle clearly did not include her. She thought there would be no ticket for her. "Of course, you are my first friend in Ponyville." Ziyue handed the last ticket to Muyi and Duoduo, saying, "How could I forget you?" However, just as they set off, Suilong also got his ticket like in the story, covering his mouth and running out to catch up with them. By the time all the ponies were full and satisfied, it was already midnight. Muyi and Duoduo and Ziyue yawned widely, then smiled at each other. "Good night, Muyi and Duoduo." "Good night, Ziyue. So many things really happened today." Saying this, Muyi and Duoduo couldn't help but yawn again. I really should sleep." But it seems she forgot something. Muyi and Duoduo slowly closed her eyes, and a special light suddenly flashed across the materials for the door sign on the first floor. Chapter 19. The Pigment Crisis the next day. As Muyi and Duoduo walked downstairs, she suddenly remembered what she had forgotten, her door plate. She had planned to make the door plate, but yesterday she was so engrossed in the ticket issue for the Galloping Horse celebration that she completely forgot about it. However, it was still not too late today. Using the cutting magic from her book, Muyi and Duoduo shaped the apple wood given by Applejack into different forms, trying to ensure that each friend's door plate was unique. Just this simple step took several hours. After laying the cut wood on the ground, Muyi and Duoduo used magic to gather the waste and throw it next to the trash pile. She first took a wooden board shaped like a few stacked books and wrote the opening hours, 10:30 to 17:30, in platinum sparkling paint on the front, then painted a few white clouds and a sun. On the back, she simply wrote resting in blue-silver sparkling paint, but also added stars and a moon. For the other door plates, she used corresponding colored paints to draw each of their cute symbols. After finishing these door plates, Muyi and Duoduo did not immediately send them out, but hung them in the library to air dry because the paint had just been applied and was not yet dry. She planned to take them down in the afternoon to check if they were dry. "Hello, Muyi and Duoduo. I want to find a book about fashion history. Do you have it here?" Jinshi pushed open the library door and looked at the door plate that Muyi and Duoduo had just hung up, asking, "Oh, these are really special. Does it have my cute symbol on it that you made specifically?" "It's no problem, dear, I can wait," Jinshi replied, her gaze not leaving the door plate. She looked at the paint she had never seen before and asked, "Can I ask where the paint on the door plate comes from?" "Which paint are you referring to? The sparkling or the solid color?" Muyi and Duoduo replied, her head down. She wasn't sure which paint Jinshi meant, as the two types of paint came from different places. "I'm talking about all the paint. Where did they come from? They look so beautiful." At this moment, Jinshi had completely discarded her original plan to browse books about fashion history. Her mind was filled with a single thought, to find out the source of this eye-catching paint. She widened her beautiful and lively eyes, staring intently at the magical paint in front of her, as if trying to see the secrets hidden behind its brilliant colors. Just as she stared at the paint, suddenly, a flash of light passed through Jinshi's eyes and the paint at the same time, and countless wonderful inspirations began to surge in her mind. These inspirations danced like a group of joyful fairies, flying, colliding, and merging in her thoughts. Each inspiration was so unique and full of creativity that Jinshi felt incredibly excited. Muyi and Duoduo instinctively sensed something was off. Why was Jinshi behaving so crazily? It was as if the paint had enchanted her. "Jinshi, calm down. I think something's not right with you." Muyi and Duoduo used magic to turn Jinshi's face towards her, looking into her eyes. Jinshi gradually calmed down from her frenzied state and said, "Sorry, Muyi and Duoduo, I don't know what just happened to me. No need to apologize. I think it must be the paint's problem." After a brief thought, Muyi and Duoduo identified the issue. The apple wood was given by Applejack, the solid color paint was from Kola, and the only unknown source was the 2 bottles of sparkling paint. However, it was still better to be cautious, after all. Jinshi had mentioned all the paints and not just the sparkling or solid colors. After thinking for a moment, Mu Yun asked Jinqi, was the paint you saw sparkling or solid color? It was sparkling paint. I won't get that wrong, Jinqi replied. Mu Yun Duo wondered aloud. Do you think there might be nothing wrong with the paint, and I just accidentally got mesmerized? Jinqi couldn't help but ponder the scene she had just witnessed. The door plates hanging from the ceiling were now gently swaying with the breeze that Mu Yun Duo had let in through the open window. The gentle wind brushed by, making them seem like light dancers, twirling gracefully in the air. Upon closer inspection, the sparkling paint on the door plates glimmered softly under the faint light, radiating a gentle and mysterious glow. The glow seemed to possess some kind of magic, flickering in and out, as if it were trying to convey some unknown secrets or eagerly calling for something or someone's arrival. Seeing Jinqi lost in her own world again, Mu Yun Duo quickly grabbed Jinqi and shook her hard. Jinqi, wake up. Can you hear me? Jinqi tried her best to show Mu Yun Duo that she had completely returned to normal. With a clear and firm voice, she said, Duo, I'm really fine now. You don't have to keep shaking me. However, Mu Yun Duo didn't immediately believe Jinqi's words and continued to hold her shoulders tightly, gently shaking her. After a while, Mu Yun Duo finally noticed Jinqi's eyes becoming bright and full of energy, and her speech was no longer weak. Only then did she believe that Jinqi had indeed returned to normal. So, Mu Yun Duo hurriedly let go. But since she had been shaking Jinqi so vigorously, when she suddenly released her, Jinqi lost her balance and fell straight to the ground as if pushed by an invisible force. I'm sorry, Jinqi. Mu Yun Duo widened her eyes, looking at Jinqi on the ground with a face full of regret and self-blame. At that moment, Jinqi appeared relatively calm. She slowly got up from the ground, her body still swaying, but she held back the dizziness and managed to steady herself. She gently brushed off the dust on her body, then looked up and smiled slightly at Mu Yun Duo, indicating that she accepted her apology. The main issue now was how to deal with the paint. Jinqi pointed out the crux of the matter. Can I see those paints? I've never heard of such a situation. Jiyu thought for a moment, but couldn't find any information about what Mu Yun Duo described in her mind. So she could only ask to see the culprit first before making a judgment. Okay, well, I'm not sure if you'll experience the same situation as Jinqi, but let me collect the door plates first. I'll get you the paint in the bottles. Mu Yun Duo used magic to take down the door plates that had been hung for less than an hour and handed the unused paint to Jiyu, hoping that it could help her better understand the cause of the current situation. Chapter 20. Harmless paint. Jiyu's gaze slowly shifted to the two colorful bottles of paint that Mu Yun Duo had just placed on the table. Her eyes seemed deeply captivated by them. At the same time, it was as if a mysterious magic book had opened in her mind, and various magical spells began to surge forth like a tide. The ancient spells she had once memorized became extraordinarily clear and vivid, as if they had been enchanted. They danced and intertwined in Jiyu's thoughts, forming a vibrant and fantastical tapestry. Some spells flashed like shooting stars, instantly crossing her mind. Others flowed like a gentle stream, softly nourishing her thoughts. Was I like this just now? Jinqi asked, looking at Jiyu's abnormal state. Yes, it was exactly the same. But let's wake Jiyu up first, Mu Yun Duo said, looking at Jinqi. Jinqi stepped forward eagerly, exclaiming, let me do it. Without hesitation, she quickly approached Jiyu. Then, Jinqi reached out her hooves and firmly grasped Jiyu's shoulders. At that moment, Jinqi seemed to transform into Mu Yun Duo from earlier, mercilessly starting to shake Jiyu wildly. Her movements were swift and powerful, shaking Ziyue's body again and again, as if trying to awaken her from some kind of predicament. As Jinqi's actions became more intense, the surrounding air seemed to be stirred up, forming a small whirlwind. Wait, stop shaking me. Ziyue shouted loudly while trying to break free from Jinqi's hands that were constantly shaking her body. At that moment, Ziyue felt dizzy, as if the whole world was rolling in front of her. Because of Jinqi's shaking, Ziyue involuntarily woke up, but her mind couldn't grasp any spells. This was how she broke free from the control of the paint. After a while, she suddenly seemed to have an epiphany, raised her head abruptly, and anxiously asked Mu Yun Duo and Jinqi, you must tell me, why do I feel so strange? What kind of magic do these paints possess? But why am I fine? I haven't shown any other reactions. However, judging by Jinqi and Ziyue's reactions, it seems that the paint only makes people more clear-headed and their thoughts more active. The lack of reaction on my part might be because I haven't needed to think yet. After all, making door plates is a physical job, not a mental one. Ziyue thought about Mu Yun's suggestion and found it very necessary, so she wrote a letter asking Princess Universe if she knew about the origin and function of this paint. Dear Princess Universe, your most loyal student, Ziyue. Who else can we seek help from now, Duoduo? Do you still remember where you bought this paint? Ziyue asked. I remember. I'll take you to see it. Mu Yunduo led Ziyue and Jinshi out to find the paint stall. Soon they arrived at the place where they bought the paint yesterday. And Mu Yunduo had a premonition that even if they found the stall, there wouldn't be any results. Sure enough, when the three of them asked at the stall owner said she had no impression of those 2 bottles of paint. These 2 bottles of paint are not from my place at all. Look, all the paints here are in wooden bottles. These 2 bottles are in glass and have labels. The stall owner firmly denied having those 2 bottles of paint. We'll go with you, Ziyue said to Mu Yunduo because she wanted to see who the friend Mu Yunduo was talking about was. Yes, let us go together. Jinshi was also curious about Mu Yunduo's friend. After all, she hadn't seen anyone Mu Yunduo was close to yet. Mu Yunduo looked at her 2 good friends and could only helplessly say that she lived in the Eternal Freedom Forest. Do you still want to go with me? The Eternal Freedom Forest. Then we definitely need to go with you. Even if you encounter any difficulties, we can overcome them together, Ziyue and Jinshi said in unison. Exchanging glances. Seeing how persistent Ziyue and Jinshi were, Mu Yunduo said nothing more and directly took them to find Keela. Knock, knock, knock. Keela, who was brewing potions, put down the materials, opened the door, and said helplessly, You already have the paint in your pocket. What do you want from me this time? This time I came to ask if you recognize this kind of paint, Mu Yunduo said as she took out the paint for Keela to see. However, Keela didn't look at the paint at first. Instead, she looked at the 2 behind Mu Yunduo. Who are they, the ones you brought? Keela blocked the door, not letting them in, nor opening the door to show them the inside. She only kept asking about Mu Yunduo's relationship with the unfamiliar ponies. Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce them. This is Keela, my friend in the Eternal Freedom Forest. Keela is very knowledgeable about some difficult diseases. This is Ziyue. I live in the library with Ziyue. She is my friend from Ponyville. This is Jinshi, a fashion designer from Ponyville. Jinshi is also my friend from Ponyville. The 3 of them looked at each other warily, and Mu Yunduo felt the atmosphere between the 3 seemed a bit awkward. Mu Yunduo looked at the paint, and then thought about how Ziyue and Jinshi only seemed dazed upon seeing the paint and did not try to grab it, which put her at ease, and she promised, Okay, I definitely won't use it again in the future. Keela saw there was nothing for her to do and directly closed the door to dismiss them. Let's go. It seems she doesn't welcome us, Jinshi said bluntly. And Ziyue agreed with her words. Since there's no big problem with this paint, we don't need to worry too much, Ziyue said to Mu Yunduo as they walked. Since Mu Yunduo had always felt these paints were dangerous, Mu Yunduo placed the paint in an inconspicuous spot and turned to Ziyue and Jinshi, saying, Let's all forget about this paint. The 2 nodded in agreement. After resolving the issue about the paint, Mu Yunduo hurriedly handed the book on fashion history she found to Jinshi. Oh, Duoduo, you remembered the book I was looking for. I had forgotten about it. Jinshi scratched her head as if just realizing it. It's okay, Jinshi. Since you borrowed it, I'll just register it. Mu Yunduo took out a book lending registration form from under the table and wrote Jinshi's name on it. After all, she couldn't forget her primary job as a librarian. In the corner, the paint watched this scene and emitted a strange glow, as if it was not as harmless as everyone thought. Chapter 21. Pajama Party. Mu Yunduo stood leisurely in front of the window, looking at the busy Pegasi outside, filled with curiosity and confusion, unable to contain her inner impulse. She called out to a pony passing by in a hurry. Hey, handsome, can you stop for a moment? Mu Yunduo's clear and melodious voice was as pleasant as a yellow aureole emerging from the valley. The stopped pony was momentarily taken aback, then stopped and turned to face the direction of Mu Yunduo. When he saw Mu Yunduo's sweet and lovely face, he couldn't help but blush and shyly asked, Miss, may I ask what you need? Mu Yunduo extended her hoof, pointing to the dense dark clouds in the sky, and curiously asked, I want to know, is it going to rain heavily soon? It's no wonder Mu Yunduo would ask this, as the sky at that moment seemed to be shrouded by a huge black curtain, with heavy clouds piling up like mountains, weighing down so much that it was hard to breathe. Moreover, the ground was bustling with activity, as unicorns and earth ponies were working together to forcefully pull down the seemingly fragile branches from the trees. Each pony was busy, seemingly preparing for the impending heavy rain. Yes, because last week we accidentally missed a light rain, so this time it needs to rain a bit more to make up for the missed water. The stopped Pegasus explained to Mu Yunduo before flying back into the sky to move the clouds. So that's how it is, thank you. Mu Yunduo saw that the busy Pegasus had already flown into the air and quickly shouted her thanks, hoping he could hear her. After thanking him, Mu Yunduo hurried to close all the windows and doors of the library to prevent rainwater from blowing in and wetting the library's books. Just as Mu Yunduo slowly closed the last window, it was as if she was summoned by some mysterious force, and suddenly the rain poured down in torrents. The once just densely packed clouds now looked even darker and heavier, with dazzling lightning weaving through the clouds like silver snakes, accompanied by deafening thunder that made one feel a sense of fear. The dense rainwater poured down like a flood breaking through a dam, with no signs of stopping. The howling wind swept through, shaking the branches violently, and some fragile small branches were even directly broken, swirling in the air with the fierce wind. The fallen leaves on the ground were completely defenseless, being swept away by the violent wind and rain. The whole world seemed to have plunged into chaos, showcasing nature's power in full force. As Duoduo was watching the pouring rain with emotion, she suddenly spotted two familiar little ponies galloping in the rain. It was Applejack and Twilight. Duoduo quickly opened the library's big door and called out to them, "Applejack, Twilight, come over here. You can take shelter from the rain." After a moment of chaos, Applejack and Twilight finally arrived at the shelter. However, just as Applejack was about to go in, she suddenly asked, "Wait a minute. Is it safe to stay under a tree during a heavy thunderstorm? Unless this tree has a magical lightning rod like my home. Come in quickly." Ziyue, watching from the second floor, explained to the hesitant Applejack that the library was safe and not to worry about the thunder. Twilight, listening to this, also set aside her worries and gratefully said, "We really appreciate you letting us in to avoid the rain." "Thank you. I want to be polite then." Just as Applejack was preparing to go in to avoid the rain, Twilight stopped her. Wait. Are you really going to come in with dirty hooves? Please, wash up before visiting someone else's home." Applejack rolled her eyes at Twilight's proud back and mumbled quietly as she walked outside. "If I stay with that nitpicky pony any longer, I can't guarantee what I might do to her. If that's the case, you're welcome to stay." Suilong went to Canterlot on business, and tonight it will just be me and Duo at home. Ziyue excitedly said, "You and Applejack should sleep here. We can have a pajama party. I've always wanted to host one." Duo and Ziyue looked eagerly at Twilight in the room. Since Duo had never hosted a pajama party either, she had only seen them in TV shows and novels and knew the process of a pajama party. Twilight didn't want to participate in any pajama party, especially not with Applejack, so she hesitated and politely refused. "Oh, I just remembered I already made plans with someone else tonight. How could I forget that? I'm really sorry. I can't stay here, especially not with Applejack." However, Ziyue seemed not to hear Twilight's refusal and happily took out the pajama party guide. "This is my personal collection, and this guide is amazing. You should check the table of contents. I've always wanted to try it out, and today is definitely the day." "Twilight, just stay? I haven't participated in a pajama party either." Twilight, seeing Ziyue and Duoduo's eager eyes, felt embarrassed to refuse directly and had to look away from them. Even so, Twilight could sense their determination to have a pajama party. After thinking for a while, she finally agreed. "Yes, that sounds great." When she said this, Twilight secretly glanced at Applejack, who was washing her hooves outside. Soon after, Applejack, with her hooves clean and shiny, walked into the library, thinking that now Twilight wouldn't say anything about her. As soon as she looked up, she saw Twilight, Ziyue, and Duo all applying mud masks to their faces. Twilight smiled and explained to the frowning Applejack, "Silly, this is a mud mask. It keeps your skin fresh and hydrated." Duo also explained to Applejack, "We're just dressing each other up." Ziyue held up the pajama party guide and said, "It's a must. The book says so." At that moment, Applejack hesitated. "Maybe I should wait a little longer." "Yay, pajama party." Ziyue and Duo clapped their hooves in excitement. Hearing Applejack agree without hesitation, Twilight felt a surge of joy and quickly grabbed the prepared mud mask, applying it to Applejack's face. Twilight carefully spread the mud mask, ensuring every inch of Applejack's skin was covered without missing a spot. Then, she took 2 fresh green cucumber slices and gently placed them over Applejack's tightly closed eyes. "What are these for?" Applejack asked in confusion, as Twilight had only explained the mud mask's purpose and not the cucumbers. Twilight sighed, realizing Applejack didn't understand this either, and explained, "Of course, they're for reducing eye bags. Do you really need to ask?" Although Duo couldn't see through the cucumber slices, she could tell that Applejack and Twilight were bickering again and was about to intervene when Ziyue walked over to the pajama party guide and happily said, "Isn't this fun? We just follow what the book says, and it will definitely be a blast." "Did you hear that, Applejack? You promise you won't mess things up and ruin Ziyue and Duo's first pajama party, right? You have to promise." Twilight immediately questioned Applejack, recalling her earlier rude behavior. "So it's settled?" "It's settled." Applejack spat on her hooves, ready to high-five Twilight to seal the promise. Twilight looked at the still dripping hooves in disgust and said, "EW. Gross." She thought she had misjudged Applejack. She wasn't rude, just messy. "You know, there's a difference between being messy and being rude." Applejack retorted, "You know? There's a difference between being dramatic and being infuriating. Fortunately, I get along with any pony, no matter how difficult they are. Oh really? I'm the easiest pony you've ever met. Wait a minute. Ladies, remember we're having a pajama party? This isn't a debate. Duoduo quickly separated the arguing pair to prevent the situation from escalating. A debate? Where? Right now. Ziyue, hearing the word debate, immediately pulled herself away from the pajama party guide. No, there's no debate. You heard wrong, Ziyue. Things are already chaotic enough. We don't need you adding to it. This is going to be the best pajama party ever. Yay, Ziyue joyfully announced, hugging the two rivals when she realized she had misunderstood. Twilight and Applejack exchanged glances and could only weakly shout yay. In response, time's up. We need to wash off the mud masks, Duoduo reminded them, and at that moment, Twilight's alarm went off. Of course, dear, do you need my help? Of course. Thank you. Next, let's curl our hair, Twilight suggested as she washed Duoduo's face. All right, I'll follow your lead. Shifting her gaze, Applejack had already curled her hair with curlers, and Twilight, taking the opportunity to poke fun, asked, "How are you feeling now, Applejack?" Ziyue smiled as she watched everyone looking all dolled up. In an instant, colorful magical lights shot out from Ziyue's horn, precisely hitting each pony's curlers. In the blink of an eye, those neatly curled curlers vanished as if they had been rendered invisible. After completing this magical feat, Ziyue nodded in satisfaction, then picked up the pajama party guide, flipping to the page about makeup and dressing up. She carefully reviewed all the listed requirements and steps, confirming that everyone had perfectly met all the standards. Finally, Ziyue confidently marked a big, noticeable checkmark next to that item, as if this small symbol carried the joy and anticipation for the successful hosting of the entire party. Seeing the curlers on her head disappear, Applejack finally felt better and straightened up to quietly complain, "I hope there aren't any more complicated processes." "Oh, the book says we should tell ghost stories," Ziyue remarked, noticing that the makeup and dressing up section was complete and moving on to the next item. Who wants to go first? Duoduo was thinking about how to tell a not-so-scary ghost story that Ziyue and the others could understand. After all, when it came to ghost stories, her mind was filled with images of embroidered shoes and ghost brides, human skin lanterns, and the like. At that moment, Applejack shouted, "I'll come. I'll tell you a scary story." While making a funny face, she looked at Jinshi and said, "I heard that there's a delicate ghost who is extremely fastidious about cleanliness, and all the little ponies are annoyed with her. You must have heard of this ghost. Jinshi, right? Wait, this isn't a ghost story." Just as Duoduo wanted to advise Applejack to go easy, Jinshi had already started her counterattack. "I've never heard of it, but I have a better story." Jinshi looked at Applejack, who had just made up a story that hinted at her, and began her own retort. "I heard there's a sloppy ghost who never thinks of others and scares away all the little ponies within 100 miles. Jinshi used even more exaggerated actions to express her dissatisfaction with Applejack. "This story isn't true. You made it up?" Applejack angrily questioned Jinshi, seeing her smug expression. "This is a ghost story. What isn't made up?" Jinshi retorted, not wanting Applejack to find her mistakes. Suddenly, the originally bright and quiet library lights went out without warning, and the entire space plunged into darkness. In this heart-pounding darkness, a faint light suddenly appeared. It was the beam from a flashlight. Under this dim light, a pale face could be vaguely seen. It was Ziyue. "I'm going to tell a scary story. It's called The Legend of the Headless Ghost Pony." Just as everyone held their breath to listen to that eerie ghost story, the previously calm sky suddenly turned dark and oppressive as if angered by something. Immediately afterward, a dazzling purple lightning bolt, like a giant dragon with its claws outstretched, streaked across the pitch-black night sky, striking down with astonishing speed. This purple lightning seemed to carry endless mysterious power and a chilling aura, filling the entire space with a bone-chilling atmosphere. In that moment, everyone was startled by this sudden sight, trembling all over, even the storyteller's voice involuntarily quivering. However, this lightning could not extinguish Ziyue's determination to tell ghost stories. It was a dark, stormy night, just like tonight. For little ponies were having a pajama party, just like us. Just then, another lightning struck outside, and the ghost story in the room was reaching its climax. The last little pony thought she was safe, but then, just a few inches behind her, stood a headless ghost pony. Just as everyone was focused on the horror story, the thunder outside struck at an inopportune moment, completely snapping the last string of reason. Jinshi and Applejack immediately clung tightly to each other, forgetting that they were each other's rivals. Chapter 23. Pajama Party Sequel 2Z. You looked at the terrified Applejack and Jinshi, who were hugging each other, and asked Duoduo in confusion, Duoduo, aren't you scared? Muyin Duoduo also shone the flashlight on her face like Ziyu. And her originally sweet and cute appearance looked incredibly eerie under the flashlight's beam. Muyin Duoduo glanced around at Ziyu and the others. After enjoying their nervous expressions, she lowered her voice and slowly began. It is said that there is a quiet little town to the west of the Eternal Freedom Forest. On the outskirts of the town stands an abandoned old mansion, and it is said that every rainy night, a mournful crying sound can be heard from within. At this point, Muyin Duoduo imitated the crying sound from the story. Whoa. Watching the three who were already scared and huddled together, Muyin Duoduo revealed an evil smile and continued. One day, a painter named Kai went to explore. As soon as she stepped in, a gust of cold wind blew out the candle in her hand. In the darkness, faint sobbing sounds could be heard. Her heart raced as she groped to light a spare candle. Just then, a ghost pony, soaked and with dripping hair, slowly descended the stairs, her hollow eyes staring mournfully at Kai, looking at the three tightly embracing each other. Muyin Duoduo couldn't help but feel a twinge of pity in her heart. She really didn't want to continue telling that bone-chilling ghost story, fearing it would scare her friends to death. The three of them had their eyes tightly shut and were trembling, as if countless ghosts were wandering around them. The chattering of teeth and their constantly shaking bodies might just be the mildest external expressions of their fear. At this moment, Muyin Duoduo took a deep breath, trying to free herself from the terrifying atmosphere she had created earlier. She adjusted her emotions slightly and gently asked in a concerned tone, "Everyone, should I continue to tell this story?" As she spoke, her gaze swept over each person in front of her, trying to capture their true thoughts and feelings. "Go ahead, dear. You've listened to our ghost stories. We also want to hear yours." Zhenqi slowly opened her eyes and encouraged Muyin Duoduo to continue. However, looking at her, who could only open one eye due to fear, Muyin Duoduo felt a bit distrustful, thinking they might faint from fright later. "Go ahead, dear. I can hold on. After all, I still want to hear the ending of the story." Applejair also reassured Muyin Duoduo to continue without worrying about them. Yeah. Ziyu pretended to be brave and said, looking at Muyin Duoduo's worried expression, "We are very brave. How could we be scared by a ghost story?" Seeing them say this, Muyin Duoduo had no choice but to continue. However, the carefully created terrifying atmosphere had already been destroyed. Even so, the three were still quite scared by the story's ending. "I'm so hungry after telling that. There are some marshmallows in the library. Who wants to eat marshmallows?" Muyin Duoduo patted her flat stomach and suggested they roast marshmallows later. "Let us have it as a bedtime dessert." "Great. I'm hungry too." As she spoke, Applejair's stomach growled, as if echoing her words. "I'll roast them." The group gathered together, chatting and laughing while eating roasted marshmallows. And Applejair and Zhenqi were too tired to argue with each other. "Muyin Duoduo, I don't want to move anymore. Please take a look at what the next game is." Ziyu laid down on the carpet, holding her already full stomach, not wanting to move at all. Since Muyin Duoduo was closest to the pajama party guide, she had to ask her to check the next game. So she continued to read silently. The next one was a pillow fight. "Oh, I like this." Muyin Duoduo shouted to the others behind her. "Please, I have no interest in such a rough game." Zhenqi shook her head in refusal with her eyes closed, but the next second, Applejair threw a pillow at her face, and Zhenqi could no longer hold back and directly joined the pillow fight. This forced Ziyu and Muyin Duoduo to keep dodging the pillows from Zhenqi and Applejair, while Muyin Duoduo could also throw a few pillows at Ziyu. After escaping from the battlefield of Zhenqi and Applejair, Ziyu and Muyin Duoduo began their own duel, until the battle between Zhenqi and Applejair reached Muyin Duoduo. Only then did the duel between Muyin Duoduo and Ziyu stop, as Zhenqi and Applejair were so caught up in their passionate battle that they didn't notice Muyin Duoduo and Ziyu were overwhelmed by the pillows meant for fighting. Ziyu poked her head out from under the pillow mountain and shouted, "Let us stop here. Let us just sleep." Chapter 24, Pajama Party 3. However, even when lying in bed, the two were still fighting. "Don't you dare stretch your dirty hooves over here." Zhenqi warned Applejair in an angry voice not to reach over. Upon hearing Zhenqi say her hooves were dirty, Applejair couldn't help but retort, "My hooves aren't dirty." "Dirty? Who knows if it's clean? Not dirty anymore, look." Applejair stretched her already rinsed hooves in front of Zhenqi, wanting her to see if her hooves were really dirty. Zhenqi made a disgusted expression at the hooves that seemed to be reaching for her face and turned around, wrapping all the blankets around herself. Pretending to be too lazy to deal with Applejair, rubbing the blankets a couple of times and comfortably closing her eyes, ready to sleep well. However, someone didn't want Zhenqi to sleep so comfortably. Applejair looked at all the blankets selfishly wrapped around Jinchi and couldn't help but angrily question. You still say I don't think of others. Then she snatched the blankets wrapped around Jinchi and covered herself with them. Of course, because of Jinchi's earlier actions. Applejair now, like Jinchi, didn't leave her any blankets, wrapping everything around herself and then smugly closing her eyes, ready to rest. The next moment, Jinchi jumped off the bed, standing by the edge and fiercely said, Now I need to remake the bed, or the blankets won't be neat. This time, Applejair was so angry that she didn't even need to speak in an angry voice, and then used her head to push Applejair, who was still lying on the bed and enjoying her rest, to the ground. Jinchi was using her magic to remake the bed. The excess part of the blanket was all tucked under the mattress, and the part of the blanket on the bed was magically made quite flat. After finishing this work, Jinchi slowly twisted her body from the direction of the pillow and slid into the blanket. Lying in the blanket, Jinchi couldn't help but let out a satisfied sigh. However, the next moment, Applejair deliberately jumped high from the ground and heavily landed on the bed, not forgetting to say, diving. Because of Applejair's actions, she not only bounced Jinchi to the ground, but also covered herself with the freshly laid blanket. She also let out a satisfied sigh, imitating Jinchi. Jinchi, who got up from the ground, angrily said to Applejair, You did that on purpose. Applejair just wouldn't let Jinchi remake the bed. And the two started to fight over the blanket until they woke up Ziyue and Duoduo. Enough. Ziyue shoved the sleepover party guide in front of the two who were fighting over the blanket, making them take a good look at what the book said. When Duoduo rushed over from her room, she saw Jinchi and Applejair fighting over a blanket. To prevent things from getting worse, she pretended to be humorous and said, Looks like we need to prepare more blankets next time we let someone stay over. Now Jinchi and Applejair stopped fighting over the blanket, looking at Duoduo, who had just spoken, with speechless expressions. Perhaps they didn't expect Duoduo to say such a nonsensical thing, and they weren't arguing because of a blanket, okay? The blanket was just the spark that ignited the conflict, not the root cause. Maybe Duoduo also felt the atmosphere was off, chuckled awkwardly, and continued to ask, Why is everyone looking at me? Then she turned to Ziyue, seeking credit. See, now they're not arguing anymore. Hearing Duoduo's words, Ziyue felt the sleepover party was completely over. Was there anything worse than this? Ziyue couldn't think of how the sleepover party could get any worse. However, it seemed that the heavens had heard Ziyue's wish. In the next second, a thunderbolt struck heavily on the tree next to the library. The tree broke halfway, swaying like a drunkard before falling down, and the place it fell was just the roof of a house, as if it were fate's arrangement. Applejair seized the opportunity and pointed at the tree that was about to fall, which had been struck by lightning, and explained to Jinchi, See, this is why we need to break off all the loose branches instead of decorating them. But please step aside, miss. Time is precious. Applejair interrupted Jinchi, who wanted to argue. Applejair opened the library window and planned to lasso the falling branches like a cowboy. Seeing this, Jinchi hurriedly tried to stop her. Wait, stop. Don't. Applejair saw that Jinchi was still trying to stop her and directly interrupted. Can't wait. Can't stop. Right now? Saying that, she lassoed the branch and pulled hard, changing the direction in which the branch was falling. When Applejair saw the branch stop falling, she loosened the rope and lectured the three behind her. Look, girls, this is how things should be done. Then she pulled the rope hard again, making the branch, which had just stabilized, change direction once more, ultimately crashing toward the library. The branch broke through the library window and was about to smash through the wall as well. Applejair had long been suspended in the air due to the force of the branch, almost being slammed to the first floor. The library window couldn't close because of the thick branch, and heavy rain poured into the room through the open window. The floor, the bed, and even some books got soaked by the rain. Not to mention that it wasn't just rainwater that came in. Some leaves were also wet and stuck to everything that got drenched. I was just about to tell you that the tree would crash over here. Jinchi, looking at this terrible scene, could only hold an open book over her head, trying to shield herself from the rain. Applejair, who had just struggled to climb up, was also furious. Then why didn't you say it earlier? Just as she was about to continue blaming Jinchi, she saw Duoduo, who had been knocked out by the tree, the shattered flower pot, and the scattered books, and silently shut her mouth. At this moment, Ziyue also noticed the knocked-out Duoduo and hurriedly crossed the branches to her side. Duoduo, are you okay? Don't scare me. Duoduo, she said while shaking her, as if this would help Duoduo wake up faster. Ugh, it hurts. What happened? Who ambushed me? Duoduo woke up as expected, rubbing her head that had just been hit, and asking Ziyue, who was holding her. I'm so glad you're okay. No one ambushed you. It was this branch that hit your head. Ziyue hugged Muyun Duoduo and cried tears of joy. Meanwhile, Muyun Duoduo looked at the huge branch lying across the second floor in confusion. You call this a branch? This could be planted in the ground as a big tree. Chapter 25 is finally finished. Applejayer looked at Ziyue, who was flipping through books, and decided not to disturb her. She then looked at Muyun Duoduo, who was still rubbing her head where she had been hit, and gave up on bothering her. In the end, she could only turn to Jinshi. She saw Jinshi putting the fallen books back on the shelf one by one instead of dealing with the urgent matter of the branch. Applejayer directly called out, "What are you doing over there, Jinshi?" Jinshi turned her head to look at Applejayer in silence and stated, "Helping some ponies clean up their mess." "Who did this good deed?" "Oh right, it was you." After hearing Jinshi's words, Applejayer felt a hot flush on her face, and that sense of shame surged up like a tide, making her wish she could immediately find a crack in the ground to hide in. However, her stubborn nature did not lead her to choose to escape. Instead, she gritted her teeth and charged toward the thick branch alone. Applejayer swung with all her might at the branch, as if trying to vent all her negative emotions through each attack. However, even though Applejayer was already panting and exhausted, the giant branch remained steadfast in place, not moving an inch. It stood like an indestructible fortress, mercilessly mocking Applejayer's efforts. Now, the only one who could help Applejayer was Jinshi, who was still tidying up the books. So, Applejayer moved past the obstructive branch and peeked her head behind Jinshi, pleading, "I'm really sorry, okay? What did you say?" Jinshi asked in disbelief. She actually didn't want Applejayer to say it again. She just couldn't believe the stubborn Applejayer would lower her head and apologize to her. Seeing a turning point in the situation, Applejayer quickly continued Jinshi's words. "I said, I'm really sorry. When you realize that the branch is about to fall, I should listen to you." When Jinshi didn't want to agree to Applejayer's request and insisted on doing things her own way, she heard Applejayer add, "Please." She could be harsh and refuse Applejayer's request, but she couldn't bring herself to turn down a lady in need of help. So she turned around to help Applejayer, but when she saw the ground covered in rainwater, she hesitated, thinking, "But I'll get dirty." Just as Applejayer was about to retort, she remembered that she was the one who needed help, so she could only keep weighing her words in her mind. "Okay, yes, working hard sometimes inevitably gets you dirty, but I have to realize that I can't make up for the trouble I've caused. I need your help." Seeing that Applejayer had indeed recognized her mistake and was sincerely apologizing, Jinshi decided to forgive her. She kept pondering solutions in her mind until she finally thought of a way to break the big branch into smaller pieces and then add a touch of artistry. "I'll help you." Jinshi stood in the center of the bedroom, her beautiful and confident face revealing a smile of assurance. In an instant, a brilliant and colorful light burst forth from her horn, dazzling like fireworks in the night sky. This light quickly enveloped the massive branch lying across the bedroom, and the branch began to undergo a wonderful transformation. As the light gradually receded, the rough branch transformed into more than a dozen exquisite sculptures. Each sculpture was unique and lifelike. Some took the shape of cute little ponies, standing tall with their heads held high, as if ready to gallop away at any moment. Others resembled lively little rabbits with long ears standing upright, and still others looked like graceful butterflies, their wings spread wide, light and elegant, as if they were about to take flight at any moment. Just as Applejayer was about to kick the last piece of wood out of the window, she suddenly saw Jinshi looking at her with an annoyed expression. It was obvious that she was dissatisfied with her rude behavior, so she could only smile apologetically at Jinshi and then gently toss the piece of wood outside. After doing all this, both of them were covered in dirty mud and leaves. "Oh, I'm so dirty." Finally having time to rest, Jinshi immediately noticed the mud and leaves on her. Applejayer, seeing Jinshi complain, thought for a moment and placed 2 cucumber slices over Jinshi's eyes, just as the two were warmly embracing each other to enjoy the peace. Muyunduo finally recovered from her headache. Looking at the clean floor and exquisite sculptures, she asked in confusion, "Oh, was I just dreaming? I remember there was supposed to be a big branch here. Where did it go?" Upon hearing Muyunduo's words, Ziyue lifted her head from the book and asked the sculptures on the bed, "Where did these come from?" Applejayer and Jinshi exchanged smiles at the puzzled looks on Ziyue and Muyunduo's faces. Muyunduo suggested, "Since we weren't satisfied with the pajama party just now, why not have another one?" "Sure. Of course, I have no problem with that." Chapter 26. Old Trade. With her back to the door, Muyunduo, still groggy, heard the sound of the door opening behind her and instinctively replied, "Welcome. How may I help you?" She turned around to see Yunbao looking at her with an indescribable expression, and only then did she realize what she had just said. I'm sorry. My mind wasn't working just now." As Muyunduo apologized to Yunbao, she tapped her head with her hoof. "Yunbao, Are you here to play with Ziyue? No, no, no. I'm here to find a book called 100 Adventures of Courage You Don't Know. Does the library have this book? Yunbao shook her head, indicating she didn't mind Mu Yunduo's earlier comment, and stated the book she wanted to borrow. 100 Adventures of Courage You Don't Know. This time, Yunbao repeated the name of the book she wanted to find at a particularly slow pace, and Mu Yunduo understood this time. However, books like that are generally stored on the second floor, but Ziyue, Jinshi, and Applejayer are still sleeping on the second floor. Speaking of the devil appears. Good morning, dear. Thank you for letting me and Jinshi stay last night. Applejayer greeted Mu Yunduo from downstairs, rubbing her sleepy eyes. Oh, good morning, Applejayer. Why aren't Jinshi and Ziyue down yet? Are they still sleeping? Mu Yunduo asked as she looked at Applejayer. No, they're folding blankets. They'll be down shortly. Do you have something urgent to tell them? No, I just wanted to find something on the second floor and was afraid of waking them up. Since they're already awake, I'll go up to look for it. As Mu Yunduo climbed the stairs, she asked Yunbao, who was still standing at the door, do you want to come with me? After all, she hadn't memorized the location of every book yet. If she remembered where every book was, she wouldn't have to search herself. She could just tell those who come to borrow books where to find them, or she could directly use magic to bring the books to her. Huh, sure, Yunbao said, then zoomed up to the second floor. What are you waiting for? Come on. Mu Yunduo looked at the lively Yunbao and shook her head indulgently before following. Yunbao, I remember that kind of book is usually on the south side. You should check there. Oh, I found it. As soon as she got the book, Yunbao zoomed in front of Applejayer and provocatively said, Applejayer, do you dare to compete with me on who is the bravest? Huh, I accept your challenge. I'll show you who the bravest little pony is. Applejayer took up Yunbao's challenge, and the two stormed out of the library as if they were about to do something earth-shattering. Yunbao, wait, that book hasn't been checked out yet. Seeing Yunbao already zooming away, Mu Yunduo could only write down the registration herself. Really, Yunbao is always so reckless. Duoduo, I think I just heard Yunbao's voice. Did she come? Jinshi and Ziyue asked, linking hooves. Yes, she just came to borrow a book. By the way, you both look like you're going out together. Mu Yunduo turned around and saw Jinshi and Ziyue, who were linked like good sisters, looking like they were about to go out. Yes, I'm planning to take Ziyue to experience the beauty salon in Ponyville. You know, she has never relaxed in Canterlot. No way. I clearly relax by reading books when I'm tired. Ziyue retorted, insisting she also relaxed in Canterlot. Huh, reading is relaxing? Mu Yunduo questioned. To her, reading could indeed be relaxing, but only when it came to novels. Ziyue read mostly academic books. She felt that the cute symbol of books should belong to Ziyue. No, you have to come with me to the beauty salon today. You will love it. Jinshi insisted, dragging Ziyue towards the beauty salon. I never said I wouldn't go to the beauty salon. Ziyue quickly shouted, Jinshi, I can walk by myself. Mu Yunduo's gaze swept over the neatly arranged rows of bookshelves. Looking at the empty library, she sighed softly, feeling an indescribable sense of boredom washing over her. Dragging her feet, she walked over to the lending desk and plopped down, leaning back slightly in her chair. Her eyes began to glaze over as her thoughts drifted far away, and various strange and unrelated things began to float into her mind. Would any little ponies come to borrow books later? Should she also go to the beauty salon on her day off? Would Yunbao and Applejayer's courage contest end up in a tie again? It's so quiet. I really want to sleep. As she thought about this, Mu Yunduo felt sleepy again. But since she was still on duty, she couldn't sleep, so she could only think of other things. Speaking of which, writing a novel seems to come with a fee, right? She should submit her first novel to some bigger newspapers for serialization. Once I become famous, I'll compile my work into a book to sell, and maybe I'll even hold a signing event. However, my first novel should be a heart-wrenching story. That way, my readers will be much more engaged. Mu Yunduo thought of something and immediately looked through past newspapers to see which ones would be suitable for submitting her novel, preferably ones with a wide reach and many readers. The Pony News? No, that's too serious. Probably not many people would follow a novel in that newspaper. Today's Ponyville? No, the reach is too small. To gain fame, one can only be famous in Ponyville. Pony Maria Fashion Weekly? Forget it. It's all about makeup and styling. Story Weekend has interesting and thrilling stories. Huh, this is it. I'll use the pen name Yengue. No matter how the flowers fall, the swallow returns as if familiar. I wonder how my mother is doing in that world. Boo-hoo. A mama's girl really can't leave her mother. Even if everyone in that world falls in love with a substitute, that is fine. As long as my mother is happy. Mu Yunduo wiped away the tears that had just fallen. Although her longing for her hometown had diminished, she had picked up her will to live in the present. Taking advantage of the fact that no one was around to borrow books, she started writing the story she wanted to submit. As soon as Duoduo touched the feather pen, countless wonderful and interesting stories rushed into her mind. She wrote on the draft paper, "It is said that long ago, before the Cosmic Princess and the Moon Princess ruled Pony Maria, a black dragon was the king of this land. It lived on the highest mountain, and the smoke it breathed blocked out the sun and the moon." Pony Eric grew up listening to stories of the evil dragon. He always wanted to defeat the dragon and drive it out of his homeland. Only then did Eric realize that he and everyone else had misunderstood the dragon. It was actually guarding a treasure, and that treasure was Pony Maria. Without it, Pony Maria would suffer from even more severe invasions. But now it was too late. The evil dragon had already been driven away. Chapter 27, Kila? The next day turned out to be a beautiful day, perfect for submitting her work. Since it was a day off, Duoduo woke up a bit late. Perhaps it was because she hadn't slept well the night before, finally falling into a deep sleep at 4 in the morning. Lying in bed, Duoduo stretched widely and opened her eyes to see the sun already high in the sky. Is it already morning? How did I sleep for so long? She muttered while folding her blanket. As soon as Duoduo opened the window for ventilation, she saw the clear blue sky and felt the cool breeze. What a beautiful day. Why not submit my work today? She said this while tidying up the first part of her story, using a duplication spell to make a copy, and putting the copy into the small bag she bought. After closing the library door, she prepared to head to the post office to mail her manuscript to the editor of Story Weekend. Just as she closed the door, her stomach growled. She should probably eat first. She couldn't go on an empty stomach. Duoduo's enthusiasm for submitting her work waned a bit. After all, a person is like iron. And food is steel. Missing a meal can make one feel anxious. However, even if she didn't mention eating, her route wouldn't change since the restaurant and the post office were in the same direction. As she got closer, seeing the familiar cloak and stripes, Duoduo hesitantly called out, "Kila?" The pony digging in the dirt stopped her actions, adjusted her cloak, which had become a bit loose from digging, and then turned around to look at Duoduo with a blank expression. Just as Duoduo was about to step closer to ask Kila why she had come to Ponyville, but hadn't come to find her to hang out, a short, sharp scream suddenly came from the nearby cake shop. It sounded as if the scream had just been muffled. Duoduo and Kila looked curiously at the cake shop, but they didn't hear any other sounds or see anyone, so they had to put that scream out of their minds for now. "Did you come to Ponyville for something, Kila?" Duoduo asked Kila. "I ran out of daily supplies and came to buy some. My tools are old and need to be replaced. I wanted to prepare an extra set for emergencies, but it seems Ponyville doesn't welcome me. Every shop is closed. I can only come back another time," Kila said, her eyes downcast as she unconsciously dug in the dirt with her forehooves. Anyone could see her disappointment, and Duoduo was no exception. "I see. Since they don't welcome you, how about I buy what you need and deliver it to your house tomorrow? What do you think?" Duoduo knew Kila's concerns, but she couldn't do much. After all, she was just a newly appointed librarian, not someone famous like Ziyue and Applejack in Ponyville. Very few would remember a librarian's name. If she said Kila was a good person, probably no one would believe her. But if Ziyue and the others said Kila was a good person, the ponies in Ponyville wouldn't isolate Kila. "I remember Ziyue and Jinshi went to see Kila with me a few days ago, but why didn't I see them? Could it be that even after meeting Kila, they think she is a bad person? Oh my, it seems I must get involved in tomorrow's cursed plot." Kila noticed that Duoduo had fallen into her thoughts after saying that, and didn't disturb her, quietly standing by waiting for her to come back to reality. Just as Kila was about to interrupt her, Duoduo finally emerged from her world. "Kila, give me your list. I'll deliver it to you tomorrow." Seeing that Kila hadn't responded to her suggestion, Duoduo thought she hadn't heard and repeated it again. "No, this is my business. You'd better not get involved." Kila coldly rejected Duoduo's suggestion, but when she raised her eyes and saw Duoduo's tear-streaked face, it felt like something was tightly gripping her heart. Kila was startled and grabbed Duoduo's shoulders, turning her to face her, stammering an explanation. "And no, that is not it. I've long considered you a friend. Once I got started, the rest would be easy to say. The reason I don't want you to get involved is that I'm afraid you will be isolated by others because of me. I don't dislike you. You're not being overly sentimental." "Really?" Hearing Kila's explanation, Duoduo wiped the tears that had dripped down to her chin and continued, "I want to be isolated. Even if I really am isolated, I still have you as a friend, right? So now I'm going to help you buy things. You want refuse, right?" Kila instinctively wanted to refuse this request, but looking at the still sniffling Duoduo, she couldn't bring herself to say no. She could only go along with Duoduo's wishes and give her the list. There were some things on the list that were hard to find. If they couldn't be bought, it was fine. "I can make them myself. Don't push yourself." Watching Kila leave from where she stood, Mu Yunduo wiped away the last tear that had spilled due to her emotions and smiled mischievously. Little Keela, you've been played. Haha, that's right. I, Mu Yunduo, am the most formidable actress in Ponyville. Turning around, she saw Ziyue, Jinshi, Yunbao, Biki, Ro, and Applejack looking at her with strange expressions. Mu Yunduo didn't blame them and smiled sweetly, greeting them. Good morning, girls. What is up? Were you just cursed? What did it feel like? Why were you crying? When did you meet her? What did she give you? A treasure map or a cursed item? Biki asked while observing Mu Yunduo, trying to find evidence of any differences from her usual self as proof that Keela had cursed her. Oh, first, tell us if you were cursed. Huh. Oh, Applejack, relax. I assure you Apple Lily will be fine. Keela is a good person. She wouldn't hurt Apple Lily. Mu Yunduo comforted and reassured the anxious Applejack. But you should hurry and look for her. After all, the Everfree Forest isn't a safe place. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately set off to search for Apple Lily. Knowing the plot, Mu Yunduo loudly reminded them. Be careful of the blue flowers. Watching the swift actions of the crowd, Mu Yunduo shook her head and murmured softly, I wonder if they heard me. Chapter 28 Submission. Knowing that Apple Lily would be safe, Mu Yunduo thought for a moment, but decided not to chase after her. Instead, she continued with her plan to submit her work to the editor of Story Weekend at the post office. When Mu Yunduo stepped out of the post office, she felt a wave of relief wash over her, as if she had shed a heavy burden. However, at the same time, her poor little stomach let out an untimely growl, as if protesting against its owner's neglect for not being fed for a long time. Remembering the restaurant she passed earlier, it had closed early out of fear due to Keela. But now, looking back, those tightly shut doors were surprisingly wide open, which was undoubtedly great news for the hungry Mu Yunduo. After all, she had been hungry all day, and at that moment, what she craved the most was a hearty meal. Without hesitation, she strode towards the nearest restaurant, ready to treat her stomach. After finding an empty seat, Mu Yunduo began to order. Hello, I'd like a daisy sandwich and a cup of black tea, please. Although she would have preferred spicy hot pot and bubble tea, she reminded herself that she was in the world of Little Maria. Pretending that the black tea was a bubble tea made with red tea and milk was Mu Yunduo's last bit of stubbornness. That will be 3 gold coins. Ma'am. The waiter quickly noted Mu Yunduo's order and calculated the cost. Here you go. Mu Yunduo used magic to count out 3 gold coins from her bag and handed them to the waiter's hoof. While waiting for her food, Mu Yunduo took out the list Keela had given her and looked it over carefully. There were spoons, clay pots, iron pans, and some repair tools. So many items. As Mu Yunduo thought about where to buy these things later, the waiter brought over the food she had just ordered. Looking at the delicious sandwich, Mu Yunduo felt that perhaps she should eat first and deal with the list after her stomach was full. She tucked the list back into her small bag and began to enjoy her meal. After finishing the sandwich in a few bites, Mu Yunduo started her usual daydreaming. Everyone has their little habits, and Mu Yunduo's habit was to daydream during her free time. Her daydreaming wasn't just staring at a spot and zoning out. She would find a comfortable angle and think about various things in her mind. She would ponder the plots of novels and imagine how she would save the day if she were in those stories. Or think of scenarios where she was the center of attention. In any case, the plots Mu Yunduo imagined were all enjoyable for her. After all, no one would want to feel wronged in the world they created. In the real world, if someone made Mu Yunduo feel wronged, she would immediately think of ways to get back at them. Humph, that's just the kind of person she is. She never forgets a grudge. After daydreaming, Mu Yunduo downed the last of her black tea and took Keela's list to look for the target store. Just a few steps away was a dishware shop. And without a second thought, Mu Yunduo walked in. Welcome to Coco Dishware Store. How can I help you? The owner, Coco, gently asked as she watched Mu Yunduo looking around the store. Hello, my name is Mu Yunduo. I'm helping my friend buy dishware. Do you sell these items here? Mu Yunduo directly showed the owner the list, which contained some technical terms that were a bit awkward. Of course, please have them delivered to the library. Thank you. Mu Yunduo had originally wanted to say outside the Eternal Freedom Forest, but feared that Coco would refuse the order, so she settled for having them sent to the library. After receiving the list, Mu Yunduo did not cross off the items she had already purchased because she wanted to check everything off one by one tomorrow to avoid missing anything when delivering to Keela. Duoduo, were the dishware just delivered to the library your purchase? It was a clumsy change of topic, but Mu Yunduo did not intend to expose it. Yes. Keela asked me to help her buy them. Keela,